Talk your life.
Welcome to Respawning Fire, episode 167, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast from Affable Idiots. I have to pause the video because I had Twitch running and that was very confusing for a second. I'm Holden DePardo. We've got Chad Michael Ennis, as usual, here with us.
Hello!
We also have two special guests. We have Trevor Bettis and Stephen Deutschman from Engage Family Games, and Trevor from Difficulty Class, and he had two other podcasts, and I totally am blanking on their names right now.
From the same mister, and I'm gonna podcast.
Boom. We have a very exciting episode this week, but I need to finish the introduction first because I'm not used to having guests introing, so I just botched that completely. Every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, put us in your ears to your favorite podcast service, or put us in your eyes by searching for Respawning Fire on YouTube. That's right, we've gone into the third dimension with 2D video. And if you want to add the fourth dimension of time, you can do that by watching us record it live on twitch.tv/affableidiots every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, just like you're doing right now. We have some big topics to talk about this week. We have announcements for Cyberpunk. We have announcents for Avengers. Talking Crash Bandicoot. Woo! And then we're going to talk about some more important stuff that's been happening in the industry as kind of our main quest. Mm-hmm. So we will get to that more important topic at the end. But before we get to that, what have you been playing this week? Steven, let's start with you.
I'm back on my bullshit. And I'm
At least he's honest.
And yeah. So I think that the easiest way to describe it is that I'm back on my bullshit. By the way, hey, I'm on your content, so that means I can cuss again. Welcome to you guys are like the Stephen Deutschman HBO special. So I haven't been on with you guys since before the apocalypse. So yay. I needed comfort food gaming, like really, really bad. And Animal Crossing was 100% doing that for my entire family. Because it was just presenting me with an unending, limitless to-do list of just stuff to do. Yes. However, Animal Crossing was missing two very key things. Dwarves and axes. So I resubscribed to World of Warcraft. And that was like 3 months ago because I paid for like 3 months. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm just going to play for 3 months. It's fine. I just need something while I'm trapped in the house. And it's really good, guys. It's really good. It's really good. It's really the way to describe it.
Are you playing the normal one or the one that's like, hey, this is the original? Yeah, classic, yeah.
So I am not into self-harm, so I'm not playing classic. Like I played classic. Like I played vanilla World of Warcraft. I played Burning Crusade. I played into Wrath of the Lich King, and I had, at that point, and I've talked about this on my own content, which you can find, just search for Engage Family Gaming. I've talked about this before. I had an unhealthy relationship with that game, and so I quit. And I thought about going back, and I always kept tabs on it because it's one of those games. World of Warcraft is one of those games that is always there and is incredibly successful, but no one cares except the people that play, right? And so, like, I paid attention, like, oh, cool, there's pandas now, and oh, cool, like, we destroyed the whole world, weird. And so I paid attention, and I have friends that still played the game. Don't mind me. It's 8 o'clock Eastern. My children are still awake. So if you hear my kids, don't worry about it. And so I always paid attention. And I was like, you know what? Let me just play. And my guild, who were there back then, like I raided the night my oldest son was born. Because my wife kicked me out of the hospital. And I went home and I obviously wasn't going to sleep. And so I like logged into World of Warcraft and they were like, hey, we just all died. Can you come help us? And I was like, I guess. What else am I going to do? And so they're still playing. So I just kind of hopped right back in.
Whoever gets the most kills during the raid gets to name the baby.
The general would not have allowed that. But yeah, so I'm back. I'm playing. I have my old character and I'm just kind of enjoying it. And it's the one thing that I am not doing that is making a huge difference is that I am not raiding, which is like, so I don't have to, I don't have a time commitment. So I don't have to be there at any point in time. and that's a big difference for being able to participate with it casually. Other than that, there really haven't been a lot of games that I have needed to pay attention to, like from a family gaming perspective, which is where I get most of, a lot of my games that I have to play for work. There really haven't been a lot. There's kind of been like a drought since Animal Crossing. And so, except for Ninjala, which I guess we'll talk about later, but
I was curious your thoughts on that.
It looks way too much like Splatoon. It's a little uncomfortable, but it's
exactly
what it is. But like you beat dudes up with fidget spinners, so like whatever. My kids are gonna play this game all summer. It's gonna take the whole thing over. It's gonna be like the game of the summer for our family, I think. That and Fortnite, obviously, but so I've had this drought, and it's just kind of filled that void, and I think it's going to continue to do that until Paper Mario.
Oh, Paper Mario,
which is what, like 2 or 3 weeks from now. But,
oh my god, this is completely Splatoon. Sorry, I had never heard of this game. I just looked up. This is absolutely Splatoon.
My wife,
Splatoon, yeah.
my son's had it on the big television, like right there, and my wife came into the room, and because it's a free to play game, so it's not like we have to talk about buying it or anything. Like, they installed it and we're playing it. And my wife came into the room and was like, "Did they put out Splatoon 3 and you didn't like freak out about it?" And I'm like, "No, trust me, because we're Splatoon house. If they announce a new Splatoon, y'all will hear me from here." It's not, but it looks. She's like, "Okay, did the people who made Splatoon know that this is a thing?" And I'm like, "Well, it was part of a Nintendo Direct, so I would presume that they know."
I think it's also published by Nintendo.
Think so too. Yeah. So I mean,
wow.
It is distinct. In that, like, you're not Squid Kids, you're like literally kids who happen to be ninjas. But like the color palette is I can't imagine that it's not almost identical. The characters move in similar ways. But there's way more verticality in Ninjala. And it's a melee combat game, so you're fighting with like ninja weapons, but they're toys. So like yo-yos and fidget spinners. There's a drill, like kunai drill thing that you hold on to that is some other kind of weird thing. We're having a huge fight in our house because it is believed that the drill is OP and needs to be nerfed. So our middle child is like, it's OP, we can't use it, I refuse. Whereas my older son, who is Spike, I don't know if you're familiar with gamer types, Spike, the guy who needs to win and will do whatever it takes to win, is like, well, then I will use nothing but the drill. So now they're team together, and it's like a whole thing. You guys will all understand at some point.
I'm gonna download it after this podcast. That sounds like a lot of fun.
So it's free to start. There's a story mode that's $4.50, and you play through the story mode. That gives you for $5, whatever. And you play through that, and it gives you cosmetic items. And there's a battle pass. It's called the Ninja Pass. And it works literally just like the battle pass, because all battle passes are the same now.
Yes, they are.
Because they figured out how to make them work.
So we're doing like a Nintendo night now. So game night for just Nintendo games, and that might be a good one to do because
that'd be fun.
Probably has better matchmaking than the actual Nintendo game Splatoon.
I know it's published by Nintendo, so they might have gone and been like, "Hey, this is too good. Can you just bring it down a little bit? We don't want to make Splatoon look bad." Yeah.
We don't want to set expectations.
I mean, Splatoon it's definitely, there's no way that it's better than Splatoon. Splatoon is really, 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 really one of the best games on the Switch.
I agree.
I mean, there are better ones by a lot, and I'm sure we'll talk about them later, but
can't think of any that come to mind, actually.
Is amazing.
Are you talking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3?
Dude, that's a good game.
That's a good game.
We're going to talk about that one later when another game comes up.
I'm sure. No, I'm talking about a lot of games, but Splatoon is really good. But it's important. I mean, you got to make the comparisons, but Splatoon is not free, whereas Ninjala is, and it's a great
that's the
game
worst
for
part
the
of
summer.
Splatoon.
I mean, that's the worst part of a lot. That's the worst part of a lot of games, because it'd be nice if they were all free. I mean, I understand the business side of it, but it'd be great if I didn't have to pay for them.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Splatoon 3 could? I mean, this is off like totally long shot. Do you think it could be free to play? Like, this is almost an experiment. Like, it's kind of like Splatoon. It's free to play. It's going to get attention.
No, this is a different developer, and Nintendo doesn't do that with it.
Especially with them. Especially with them saying that they're basically ditching the mobile thing and how that model did not work for them. Not a chance in hell. They're going to keep pricing their games at $60 and keeping them there for eternity.
I'd rather that be the case, but they could also really grow the user base if it was free to play.
It's true.
I don't know.
Do they need? I mean, the counterpoint to that is I don't think they need to grow the user base. Splatoon does way better than it has any right to do. Like, it's not doing Mario Kart numbers because not many people do Mario Kart numbers, but it's because Mario Kart is just bananas. But
I think that's still the best-selling game on Switch, right?
And
No.
I don't even think it's close.
Another game topped. Oh no, actually, I think Animal Crossing has topped it now.
No, Animal Crossing not in lifetime sales. I think in probably launch
lifetime sales. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is dominant. Like, what is it? I think the last time they talked about it, like
25 million.
60%. Yeah,
25 million for Mario Kart. Smash Bros. Ultimate's at 18.84 million.
Wow.
I think it's like 11 or 13 for Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing is going to punch a bunch of games in the face on that list.
Absolutely.
And it hasn't even hit a holiday yet.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, you don't count Easter. Easter's a big shopping holiday.
Bunny Day. You mean Bunny
Day
right?
with the
Best
saddest
holiday
man
ever.
For gift giving, I don't. But it did. I mean, although one could argue that the need to have it during the pandemic while we were all stuck at home might have counted almost like a holiday.
Yeah, pandemic's a holiday. It's just a very long, awful holiday.
Look, we bought 3 copies. So we had 3 Switches, 3 copies. That was I felt guilty posting that on our Instagram because I was like, man, I'm like definitely flexing right here, but I'm like, this is just to prevent war. Because as it is, we still have the parents sharing islands with our kids.
As an argument for Easter being a gift-giving holiday, Pork Chop in the chat says, I used to get Skylanders for Easter. So, there you go.
That's true. We did the same thing with our kids. Same thing.
I used to get Beast Wars for Easter.
What's Beast Wars?
Yo, the Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys.
Come on.
Oh, you guys were young. I'm sorry. You don't remember like real cartoons.
Jesus.
Anyway, so that's what I'm playing. World of Warcraft. My kids are playing Ninjala. I'm starting a new World of Warcraft podcast with one of my guildmates in the next
nice
3 weeks.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
We're trying to figure out what to name it. So if anybody wants to yell at me, throw suggestions into the chat. I'll pay attention.
Warcraft.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to be
thinking about that.
Though. Don't say anything about addiction. That's everybody's like, you should call it Warcraft Anonymous. I'm like, first of all, that's taken without even Googling it. Second of all, like, it's supposed to be about the positive stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Pork Chop suggests, wow, it's another podcast.
Actually, I like that. I think I'm actually kind of like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But that just sounds like that, like music. Like you remember when they had CDs, like the WoW, like the music compilation CD.
That's what I call music.
Yep, exactly.
Or the awful versions where it's like the kids singing a song and it always just sounds so much. Is it Kids Bop? Oh, that was terrible.
That's why Christmas Shoes is the best Christmas song because of the kids singing. They sound like little demon children.
I'm trying to look at the chat here.
So I'm gonna buy these shoes.
Trevor, you've been playing some Nintendo stuff too, it looks like.
Yes, I am. I finally got a Ring Fit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Fuck every scalper ever.
You're like one of the
worst.
2 people who has Ring Fit.
Yeah, well, so if you follow Warrior 64 and put on notifications for him, you're probably going to be able to get one because Amazon's kind of regular. I know, I actually put him on notifications because when we were hanging out, and you're like, oh, Warrior posts, I'm like, I should do that. But yeah, so I got Ring Fit, and it is way better and way more intense than I thought it was going to be. Like, I was just like, oh, I get the little ring thing. It'll be fun. Yay, I get some exercise. And like, the first time I booted it up, it's just like, you're not ready. you should go stretch for 30 minutes because I'm about to whoop your ass. like the just moving around, like you have to jog in place, or if it recognizes like, hey, some people live in apartments or they need to be quiet, so they're like, it's okay, instead just do squats really fast. I'm like, oh no. So that's just moving around, and then you get into combat, and so each attack is an exercise, and each exercise has a color code to it that can damage creatures of the same color more than the other ones. And so like green ones are yoga poses, and like red ones are like, you know, flexing and stuff. So it's been really fun to do. I've only been able to do like 2 levels at a time before I'm like, I'm too fat for this, I gotta go take a shower. But it's
your fat voice is so good.
Well, it comes from a lifetime of knowing how to do it. It's been really cool because like it's got that Nintendo motivation, because one of the things that I always love about Nintendo games, especially they're like, hey, be active and do fitness things, is always been really good at being like, hey, you're doing a great fucking job. Like you did a good workout today. Like you beat the first boss, and like I quit out, did the cooldown and everything, and then at the end of it, it was like, hey, you beat a boss today. That's a big deal. Good on you. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, thank you. That was good on me. Yeah.
Only my wife would say those kind of things to me.
Yeah, only my wife would say those sort of things.
Maybe.
To be clear,
maybe.
She's been playing it too. She's enjoying the hell out of it. So yeah, I'm thrilled to get that and to be playing it now and getting some exercise. But the other thing that I've been playing is very much like what Steven was saying with comfort food for gaming. I'm playing Dark Souls 3 again, which I talked about like the first time I was on Respawning Fire. My friends decided to get into the game, and me and my other friend are like, oh, we've beaten the shit out of that game. We will buy it on PlayStation and play it with you. So I bought it on another platform. I've now bought it 3-4 times. And so we're playing through that again and just beating the ever-loving hell out of it, and then going back and helping our other friends get through it. And it's weird to say, it's some of the most wholesome things. Like, I know it sounds weird. Dark Souls has this identity of being like, it's the hardest game. The motto is get good. But I have had some of the most wholesome interactions with people in PvP. Like, you get invaded. For people who don't know, you get invaded sometimes if you're playing online. So another player can just come in and fuck your day up. They're like, ha ha ha, you have a lot of souls. That sucks for you. But there's this whole community of PvPers who have, like, it's like battle respect. Like, I got invaded. I saw the dude. He stands off at a distance, waves at me. I wave at him, and then he does a shield mash, which basically says, "Hey, are you cool?" And I do it back. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm cool." So when we go to an area that's open for both of us to have an even playing field, we both bow to each other, and then we fight.
That's like adorable.
That's classy.
Yeah, but then so I did that super early on into my play session, so I'm like very low level for this, and this dude basically stopped the fight in the middle, like did an emote to say stop, and dropped 150,000 souls, which at that point was probably like, I don't know, 10 levels for me, and was just like, all right, let's keep going, you can have those. I was like, this is great, you guys are nice. But yeah, so I've been getting some wholesome, awesome, nice things out of that. Yeah, but that's what I've been playing.
That's never been my experience. You're so I get massacred every time.
It's not the rule. This is an exception, but it sometimes it's there and it's nice. Yeah. What about you guys? What are you playing?
Chad, why don't you go next?
Mine's going to be real short. One of them is The Last of Us Part 2. I started playing it again after I marathoned it in 2 days, basically. If you have beat the game, go listen to the spoiler chat that we did on Friday. There were 6 people there. It was me, Matt from Average Nobodies, Dallas from Real Life, Jericho from JK Games, and we had Darby and Jeff from Nerds at Large, and we had an almost 2-hour discussion. And then immediately after we stopped streaming, we were like, oh yeah, we didn't talk about this. And we talked for like 10 more minutes about the game. It's awesome, like one of my favorite pieces of content we've ever done. So check that out. Only after you beat the game. Holden jumped in. Holden jumped in the middle of the stream just to shout something in chat, and then jumped out. I was like, what if we were discussing
I turned the volume down all the way before I joined. I was like, I just wrote out Last of Us sucks, and then I left.
I mean, that's allowed.
So yeah, go check
That's
that out. And then I played Alan Wake because I had to. And if you want to hear my thoughts on that, we just recorded 40 minutes of it just prior to this. That's going up shortly as well. And I did not enjoy that, and I was really surprised how split we were on that decision. So go check that out. That's it. That's all I played this week. And I can't wait to play more Last of Us Part 2 to have an even same answer next week.
I also played Alan Wake. I listened to the Barf chat, and you can hear my thoughts there. I played some No Man's Sky as well. And because that's on Game Pass now, I can play with my brother because he only has it on Xbox. And I like that game a lot. The multiplayer is janky as all hell. Holy crap. But it works well enough that it doesn't bother me. And I just have a good time in that game. It's a nice, relaxing, just venture off in space.
I had a breaking point in that game with my friends. We all hopped on when it did the multiplayer update, and we're building shit. And then literally at one point, I stopped in the middle of this giant city we built, and I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we here?
You're doing this because you need to craft more shit.
What does any of this mean? Like, I had an existential break.
See, I think the answer is you're overthinking this. You're
probably. I probably was.
Space shit.
I probably just wanted to play Destiny more.
I just pretend to like Han Solo, just like, venturing around, being a space pirate or whatever. Like, that's awesome. It's great. Also, I liked No Man's Sky when it first came out. I totally recognized, hey, it was not what they had promised it was going to be exactly, but I still had a good time with it. And so for me, it's like, it's just a way better version of that game that I still kind of enjoyed back then. And now there's a story to do, and like, there's just a lot more interesting stuff, I think.
I remember telling someone before that game came out, because they were like quoting Sean Murray on a bunch of stuff. I'm like, see, here's the thing. Every time I see Sean Murray on stage, I see Peter Molyneux on stage. So
what was the prize of his game where you have to like tap to get to the center? Like, you're just breaking shit over and over.
There was a game that was just tapping.
Goddess. Oh, it was Cube.
It was Cube,
that was Cube. Yeah. And whoever got to the center of it became the god in the next game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was some weird
he realized that he was a god for maybe like 12 people, and that's just not exciting. It's just kind of like having a little like party together, and you have a little more authority. It's not that fun. Yeah, cool. That's all the games we played this week. Let's move on to the fetch quests. And before we go on to the fetch quest that I had written in here, there was one I left out. I left it out on purpose. Like, what? No, we're going to talk about this. Pokemon Unite was announced.
Oh god,
this week. So let me just so like we made a Summer Games Bet Fest thing about it being Let's Go, Gold, Silver, whatever that was going to be called, and that whole thing, because it seemed pretty obvious. Hey, it's a separate announcement. They're waiting a few days for it. Like, it might be a bigger thing. It was a MOBA. Why did they just include that? Why did they just include that in the original event 2 days prior?
Here's the thing. I'm not upset about it. Like, it might help because I completely forgot about the Let's Go thing, and I like that was a possibility, and I forgot about the announcement itself until after it happened. But then just like seeing that, there's Pokemon Unite and it's a MOBA, and I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, that seems like it could be fun. I might try that with some friends for 2 minutes. But I was not upset about it like everyone else was. I thought, good for them, trying to do something new.
Yeah.
It was just surprising for me that didn't see, like, you look at all the announcements they did the day before. It's like a Pokemon Cafe game, like a game to help you brush your teeth. Like, and the only other exciting thing was the new Pokemon Snap game. I'm like, what? They should have just started Pokemon Snap, done a bunch of like the smaller stuff, and then ended with Unite. And I felt like it hyped it too much to have it be just a few days later. That was very strange to me.
Well, so here's the thing. I guarantee, because I know they want, obviously they want all their games to succeed, but they knew that if they put Pokemon Unite even in the same day as Pokemon Snap, not a single person was going to hear about that game. Everyone lost their shit about Pokemon Snap, as they rightfully should have. And
then maybe they should have saved Pokemon Snap. Put Unite with all the other bullshit that no one cares about. And then...
You're right. That should have been swapped. Unite should have been with the other stuff, and then Snap should have had its own thing.
I disagree. Pokemon Unite is going to be huge.
Oh, I bet it is.
It's a mobile MOBA featuring Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, if you aren't excited, you're not the target audience. And that's okay. That target audience is huge. It's being made by Tencent. Like, this thing is going to make them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't catch that.
So this thing is going to make a ton of money.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the reason it got its own time is because if we look 5 years down the line, if we look at and compare the 5 things that got announced, because technically they did announce Mega Evolutions in Pokemon Go, so there were 4 things in that first thing. If we look at them, the thing that's going to make the most money is going to be Pokemon Unite, unless it falls on its face. Like, I have to assume that it's good, but assuming that it is good, or even passable, it's going to make so much dough. So it was worth have its own announcement.
That's a very, very good point. I still think that the toothbrushing game might be better and sell more. I don't. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, there's no
in 5 years we'll wonder why.
There's no monetization in the toothbrushing game, but
not until they sell the Pokemon Go
Wait.
toothbrushing bracelet that you can buy to help you brush your teeth when you're not on
to
in
talk
your
about that
bathroom.
one. And I said it on my own content, and I went into this pretty much in significant detail on the EFG show. When that announcement happened, 98% of the audience was like, whatever, cute Pokemon. The other 2% were like parents who have kids like in the age of 5 or lower who were losing their minds. It was like game of the year level like hype, because that is a significant problem that needs a solution, and Pokemon just without any warning just provided it. So it's really interesting that was the game of the year for so many parents that have that problem. I know that's not something that you guys normally talk about like in this content, but trust me when I say there was like 6 dudes that were like,
It's actually one in a series. There's going to be Pokemon Sleep to help get your kids to sleep. Pokemon Smile to help them brush their teeth. Pokemon Shut Up, Mommy's Working to get them to shut up while Mommy's working from home.
Well, here's the thing. Steven's completely right, and that's not really something that I thought about. I had a fucking Pikachu toothbrush when I was a kid, and I wanted to brush my teeth because I had fucking Pikachu. So yeah, no, that's a really good point. That's going to be great for those parents, and that's not something that a lot of game developers, let alone Nintendo, really think about. It's more of just like play our games. But this one's just like, also don't let your teeth rot.
I would bet almost, and I'm sure we'll never find out because Pokemon's internal workings, like they don't talk about this, but I would bet that this was they must have periodic like pitch meetings for like spin-offs and other, and I bet you like see these people like in a cubicle like corner off near the vending machine, someone like passed out at their desk one day and was like, and it just happened, and they just went to a pitch meeting and were like, no guys, for real, we should do an AR game where they help kids brush their teeth. And like, I want to be at that meeting where it was announced, but that's absolutely, there's some little miracle how that happened, because that's not something that you focus group, that's not something that is just a natural thing. Like Pokemon Unite seems natural and obvious to me. It's a Pokemon MOBA. Like, I'm sure they have Pokemon Kart Racer, Pokemon Fighting Game. That happened, right? Like, I'm sure they have that, like bingo machine to put stuff out. But Pokemon AR toothbrushing simulator, not something that would happen. So it's got to just be some miracle of somebody that had this idea that it would be cool, and I would love to hear that story. But in the meantime, it looks ridiculously cool.
Or they did the bingo machine, or like Pokemon AR toothbrushing. All right, hear me out, guys. Actually, this might.
So what you're saying is it's like the manatees in that episode
in the South Park
about
episode.
Family Guy in the South Park episode. So it's just manatees, but it's just Pokemon is just always there, and then it's just a bunch of other beach balls with every other word in the English language. Yeah. So like, I'm down. I mean, listen. Anyway. So I'm just here to defend Pokemon Smile. That game is just, for like the 2% of the people that cared, they cared way too much. Mm-hmm. And everybody else is just like, It's going to be responsible for a lot of really awkward TikTok videos over the course of the next 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
Very true.
Yes, I am an old man, and I know what TikTok is. Forgive me.
How dare you?
Speaking of awkward, Oculus Go is to be discontinued, says Dennis Patrick at GameRanks. Ooh. So
Great
sales are going to
transition.
continue until the end of the year, with support running until 2022 if you have one, but there'll be no new Oculus Go apps are going to be accepted into the store. So they want to focus on the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Rift. Also,
For those
Oculus...
who, before we move on from that,
Which
for those
one's
who
the Go?
aren't... Exactly, yeah. For
The
those who
video
aren't familiar, that's video only, like if you want to watch things in VR. And it has like a couple of games, but you can't really do much with it.
Was that was like the Google Dream thing or whatever, right? Like it was just
but without the phone. It was its own like standalone device.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
say though that there was a handful of games and they weren't all that great, but there was one called Virtual Reality, and that is an awesome VR experience. I highly recommend. Very good stuff.
Sure, but they could just put it on the Quest. So
Oh, they totally
because
right.
the
Yeah, I
Quest
think it
is
already
the
is on the
wireless
Quest.
one that like Greg Miller puts in his bag, right? Is that like
Yep.
that's the Quest?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. It's a great device. Speaking of content, Oculus snaps up Ready at Dawn. This is from Alex Calvin at PC Games Insider. This is the same guys who made Order 1886 and have made a few VR titles. I think it's good for them to get exclusive. Yeah,
It's a good
this is
get
good for them to get
them.
exclusive.
It makes sense why they picked them up for Echo Arena and things like that. But I don't want all of these developers going to Facebook. I don't want to play anything that
Yeah.
has to do with Facebook. That's disgusting to
Agreed.
me. Like, do we have Mixer on here later?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. I want Facebook out of my games.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I'm just...
Tough luck, buddy.
Yeah.
Right.
I loved Ready at Dawn's God of War games on PSP, and I'm really sad that we didn't get anything like that on the Vita. May you rest in beautiful peace. So, like, I'm glad that for them, they got an exclusivity deal, they're getting money and stuff like that, but I'm also sad that we're not going to get non-VR games from them, and I don't have a VR unit, so I'm not going to be able to play their games for a while, so that makes me a little sad.
Until they make Facebox and they start releasing like 1887 on there.
And it's literally just a box you wear on your head. It's not even a visor anymore.
Yeah.
Completely
It
immersive.
steals all of your eye movement and thought patterns as you play it.
Yep.
It's going to be a big seller, just like The Last of Us Part 2 sells more than 4 million copies. This comes from Neil Druckmann at PlayStation Blog. This is now making Last of Us Part 2 officially the fastest-selling PS4 first-party exclusive.
It was knocking
good
out
for them.
Spider-Man was previously that record, and then before that was Uncharted 4. And Spider-Man, when it came out, people were like, "Oh my god, it's selling so fast!" So to see this
So
faster.
Not surprised Last of Us Part 2 beat it. Not at all.
Yeah,
The hype
no,
has
I'm not
been
either.
massive. Animal Crossing New Horizons free summer update arrives next week. Swimming returns. I'm excited. Actually, what's the official date actually it's coming out?
The 3rd, Friday.
The 3rd? Friday? All right, cool. I'm
Same day as
excited.
Hamilton on Disney Plus, baby.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, next weekend's going to be a big. That next weekend, can we say it's going to be lit? It's going to be lit.
It's gonna
It's
be
gonna
lit.
be
right?
lit.
Sure, I give you permission.
Gucci.
That came across my Twitter feed. It was very early. I work from home, so I was literally sitting at this desk. I just put my work laptop in front of my lab here, and my daughter was the only kid awake, because generally that's what happens. She gets up early, and I was like, Maggie, you got to get over here. So she's like Animal Crossing, like it's her thing, right? Easily her game of the decade. And so I pulled her over and showed her that, and she melted down with hype. Like, I know, and I say it, I am an unmitigated hype machine, or hype monster, rather. I'm sorry, I should know my own catchphrases. I have never seen such pure, uncontrolled hype before. She almost hulked out. It was so cool. The mermaid stuff is
Oh my God.
particularly right in her wheelhouse, being that she is a 7-year-old girl. So that's cool. I play with my kids, but like it's not my game of the year. But like, man, being able to swim.
Oh
she
yeah,
was
it's
like,
gonna be great.
They are letting you swim.
I wonder how far
So-
out you can swim in the ocetion.
Like,
Do you think you can swim far enough out that you can like drown?
No, this isn't that kind of game.
Yeah, Chad. You can also get eaten by sharks, and it'll leave a bloody trail because that's Animal Crossing.
You know, all of a sudden, Animal Crossing New
Tom Nook
Horizons
turns you into
changes
chum
its
that his
rating.
nephews sell in their store. Yeah, Chad, that's 100% Animal Crossing.
All right, I'm back.
Someone's already done that Photoshop though of the first shot of showing the Animal Crossing villager jumping into the ocean, and someone just photoshopped a shark like swooping in underneath them.
I want somebody to remake the scene from Jaws where it's on the boat and the dude's sliding down, and just have it the Animal Crossing villager.
Trust me, now that you can be in the water, someone's definitely doing that. So just give it time.
Can't wait. That's
what I am hoping that you can collect different jump into the water animations.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So like maybe you can collect, kind of like you can collect music CDs. Like maybe you can collect like books or whatever. I don't know. Like because that one did like a full forward flip into a leg drop basically, which I'm sure, but I would absolutely love like a cannonball or a nice like a dive or I think that would be kind of neat if you could.
Yeah, like how you learn the reactions, you learn different diving skills. That'd be cool. Yeah.
And then they could reuse them in the winter for if you want to jump into piles of snow or piles of leaves during the fall update. Which
Nintendo, he's a thinker. Hire this man. I want to cannonball into some snow.
I feel like that. Well, I don't know if it's a given, but I give those ideas to Nintendo for free. They can just put me in the Nintendo Ambassador program instead. That's fine. I'll take that as payment.
As long as they bring back snowmen and you can make snowmen, I'm happy.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine we live in a world where that's not a thing.
It's gonna happen. It's a new leaf. They have to bring it back. They have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally not going to be. It's going to be one of the winter updates, so you can't because I don't think you can do it through time traveling. So I mean, it's definitely going to come in through an update.
Well, when it first launched, though, the Southern Hemisphere was on winter, so I think we might be able to find that out if it's there or not.
I don't think that you have snowmen. I'll look.
I don't know.
For those of you who are not watching live, you have that option, twitch.tv/AffableIdiots. You are missing out on a rousing discussion about VR porn right now.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was going to bring that up, but I didn't know if it meshed with the Animal Crossing talk.
So that's another reason to watch us live.
A snowman right now.
Awesome. You can also do right now, if you're listening to the future by one day, Min from ARMS will be the next Smash Bros. Fighter from RA Notice at Kotaku. So it's coming June 29th, which is tomorrow, for us live on twitch.tv/AffableIdiots. But if you're listening to us on podcast, it's already out, so you can play as Min. And Min was my favorite character in ARMS, so that made me very excited. I don't like Smash that much, though, so I'm never going to play it. Great!
My heart.
Wait, what?
Let me clarify. I'm so bad at Smash, I get so disheartened when I play it that I can't.
Okay, so it's not that you dislike it, it's that you suck. I get it.
I suck miserably at it.
Fair enough. Listen, that's why I don't play Dark Souls. It's not that I hate the games, it's that I'm hilariously bad at video games. So I don't.
Steven, I can help you with that.
No,
I can help you with that.
No, because my problem is that I have bad buttons. You and I have not been over this, so I can't say we've been through this before. But like I have bad buttons, so when I get stressed out, I push the wrong button all the time. I will forever do it. So
yeah, that'll mess you up. They'll get you dead.
So yeah, so like I'm great at Batman combat. You know what I'm talking about, the Warner Brothers Batman combat, because it's a lot of hitting the same button over and over again, and I'm okay with timing. So Batman is like, but I'm terrible at Devil May Cry. Get it? You dig?
I imagine there was probably a 6 or 7 year stretch where QTEs were probably really popular, and you hated those games.
I actually stopped playing third person action games when QTEs were a thing, like when they were really big. I had to stop.
Prince of Persia, Resident Evil.
You know what? But what's the interesting side effect of that is they made me play shooters, which I had previously avoided. So like, I played some awesome first-person shooters that I had never thought that I could actually play or enjoy. So I think, and now I'm much happier. So like God of War, Spider-Man, like I can play those games. I'm really interested to play The Last of Us just because I'm gonna be terrified of the zombies, but I want to see how easy I can make it so that I can actually finish it. Because I'm hilariously bad at video games, and when I see all those accessibility options, I'm like, maybe I can actually finish this.
Yeah, you don't have to fight zombies; you just fight red blobs that are running across the screen. Much different.
You can do that.
You guys make you make jokes, but like I might do that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Anyway. Hey, jokes can be serious. That was a joke, and it was serious. As serious as the Dark Pictures Little Hope gameplay that just came out this week.
Dude, you're freaking segues, man. Damn.
Segway's also going out of
blindsiding
business.
me.
Speaking of going out of business, Xbox Mixer.
No, I was going to use QTEs, but that just worked better.
That was good. That was good. Also, I just really want to put real quick in the chat, OJam232 says hashtag Steven is bad at games.
That's why OJam232 is actually my brother, and so that is a
there we
hashtag.
go.
That is a hashtag that we use on EFG content quite frequently because hashtag
Beautiful.
Steven is bad at games.
I'll be sure to use that.
We're going to use that to
It's
promote
true
all of our
facts.
content from here going forward.
Just with no explanation, every respawn tweet just ends with hashtag Steven is bad at games. So what was that news you had there, Holden?
Yeah, so we have the Dark Pictures, Little Hope, which is basically the next anthology title in... what's the name of the developer who made Until Dawn? Supermassive?
Yeah,
Game? What's
Supermassive.
it? Yeah. So they're making an anthology series. This is the second one in that. Chad and I played Man of Medan. We liked it. A lot of people didn't like it as much as Until Dawn.
A lot of people played it
Did
the
you guys
wrong
see
way. You got to play the asynchronous, like us back and forth online way. You can't play this by yourself.
I should pick that up with my wife because she's been really wanting. My wife was obsessed with Until Dawn, and she really wants to play Man from Medan. So we should pick that up and play 2-player. That sounds like fun.
I actually be curious if it's going to work in the same house, because what worked really well with Chad and I playing online is that it does, this is kind of a spoiler, it does this like you see one thing, I see something else kind of thing.
Oh,
And I
interesting.
don't know how that's going to translate if
Yeah.
you're both on the same scrim. I'd be curious
Okay.
about that.
I'll just
Yeah,
tell
if
her.
you do-
stop,
if you do
stop
co-op
looking.
on the
Cover your
couch.
ears.
If you do co-op on the couch, it's just like a hand the controller back and forth kind of thing.
No,
It's not actually seeing both sides of the story.
Yeah, and Little Hope looks extremely similar, which isn't surprising. But did you guys watch this gameplay demo?
I did.
This is the first I've heard of it. I
It
feel
was
like
the
a terrible
most-
guest. I didn't know.
Is the most boring gameplay reveal. Like to show us the very first gameplay of this game, and of the 7.5 minutes, 6.5 of it is literally just the character walking around doing. It's like someone who's new to the game, not the developer, is playing it, and they're like looking up at the sky and then down at their feet and then over at a tree.
Oh my
it's
God.
like, and all of it is just them walking in
totally
circles,
agree.
like awkwardly moving their body like this, and then there's like 3 seconds of actually like engaging material in it. I'm sure the game's gonna be
couldn't
great,
believe
but it
how
was a
bad it
terrible
was.
trailer.
Yeah. It was really bad. Yeah, I kept thinking like, oh, it's going to build to something. And in that gameplay demo, they kept doing like the stupid like early jump scare psych out stuff where it's like, what was that over there? Oh, it was nothing. Let's just keep walking forward. And then I'm like, oh, what's this going to build to at the end of this 7-minute demo? Nothing at all. It was awful.
all the
I'm
things
still
they could
gonna
show.
get it. Yeah, I'm still going to get it because I like that style of game, and I'll enjoy playing with Chad if Chad is still interested in buying it after that
Yep.
demo. But yeah, oh man, what a waste. Really bad. Speaking of bad, Xbox July 2020 games with gold titles revealed. No, but in this case, though, have you ever been excited for Xbox games with gold in the past year?
No.
Oh,
Now that I got Game Pass, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Game Pass is way better. So there's 4 games that, honestly, I could not mention them and your life would be exactly the same. So I'm not going to. But you know who made those games, or has published them, is Microsoft. And Microsoft also, speaking of Microsoft, is shutting down Mixer.
Wait, hold on. Wait. don't segue before I get to talk about Dunk Lords.
He has opinions.
Dunk Lords is fucking good. Period. You may not be
What
excited
is
about
Dunk
it, but it's only
Lords?
because you don't
And
know what
how?
it is.
Who told you about
Lords-
Dunk Lords? How did you find out about Dunk Lords?
The developer, when I played it with them.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's cool.
So I have actually put my hands on the sticks, played Dunk Lords. Dunk Lords is freaking good. It's a 2v2 basketball game where you beat the crap out of each other. So it's like NBA Jam with Streets of Rage in the middle of it.
Okay, that
It's
sounds
way
that sounds
better
kinda fun.
than it needs to. Holden, like, reach out to your camera a little bit. You're fuzzy.
Yeah, you just went,
Oh,
you
thank
went
you.
blurry.
Stop
I
being
gotta do
so
the whole
fuzzy,
like, cover up,
Holden.
and then
Stop
I
it.
pull back.
You're too
Is it good now?
fuzzy.
Looking good?
It's better. I fixed it. I'm amazing. So yeah, Dunk Lords. Realistically, here's the thing. A lot of people, you got games with gold. It's free.
Yeah.
Like, you have Xbox Live because you need it for multiplayer. If you have it, this game is free. There's no reason why you shouldn't download this. If either of those things sound interesting to you. It is actually good. The rest of it, hot garbage. Dunk Lords is worth it. Dunklords is literally the winner, and by a country mile.
I also think that the first game here, WRC8 FIA World Rally Championship, that may be one of the worst names of a game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm getting
really
ready for
name.
an end-of-the-year roundup where we do a list of the worst video game names. That's the only one not from Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah. WRC 8 FIA World Rally Championship. Dallas says he'd play the shit out of Dunklords. I call bullshit. Dallas won't buy an Xbox Live membership, so you won't play the shit out of Dunklords.
Well, it's on, to be fair, it is on Steam also, currently, right now. So
But not
there's
Steam Games with Gold, so he's still not getting it.
That's right.
That's fair. That's fair.
Microsoft will shut down Mixer, transition users to Facebook Gaming from Charlie Hill at Polygon. So basically, everything that is Mixer will be redirected to Facebook Gaming by July 22nd. That's happening. That's a thing.
How fucking victorious do you think Ninja feels right now? That $30 million he got pretty much for fucking free.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Now he's just going right back to Twitch, I'm sure. I don't know if he's announcing
I
anything.
actually want to look up how long ago. I forgot how long ago was that Ninja Mixer.
Oh god, that
134 days
was.
I just made that up. That's not real.
I think it was God. What was it? Last August or something like that. Something around there, but yeah. So he's walking out with 30 million. Then he's going to get. I would love to.
August 1st exactly. Good job.
Hey, I would love to be like how Steven was talking about just being a fly on the wall during me. I would love to be there when Ninja goes back to Twitch and like, hey, so I'm gonna start streaming on here again and see them just go, yeah, fine.
Imagine. I mean, listen. I mean, he left because they offered him many millions of dollars. So
yeah,
like, there's no way he didn't come back and counteroffer. So like he left, but like they knew, and like they can't be mad at him. It's business.
No,
you know, like he was. Of course they're gonna let him come back. He's his audience is massive, and they also follow him. They also love the guy. All I know about him is he has blue hair, and my kid likes him. I know he doesn't want to stream with women. So like, I mean, he's fine, I'm sure, but he never needs to work again. I would actually like him to take some time off, for himself, enjoy life for a little bit,
especially
start
at that
a charity,
age.
And then come back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just the fact that their backup plan or like their transition plan is Facebook Gaming. It's just like
it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Like
so gross.
Out of all the places they could have sent people, like I honestly, because I hate Facebook. I'm on the same page as you, Chad. Like honestly, I almost would have rather them just be like, we're closing down. We're really sorry. We'll give you some reimbursement money and stuff like that, but we're out. I would almost rather that than them say we're gonna fucking throw you over to Facebook. Like that just it's
that
almost
wonder,
like an insult to injury.
Yeah, it makes me think of like for Xbox Series X and their upcoming like relaunch of the Xbox dashboard, like how much of that is going to be integrated with Facebook? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think they said it's not going to be, which was strange to me. Like, why wouldn't they? Yeah, I mean, it feels like a natural progression.
Yeah.
I hate it. I mean, that's it. That's all I got to say is I hate it.
Pretty much.
All right, so I'm just going to, because I have to contradict Chad. It's like at this point it's an extension of my personal brand. It's like, family games, Nintendo, World of Warcraft contradicting Facebook. Chad Michael and his.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Come listen to my family gaming channel. #fuck Chad.
Steven's Better Games. #fuck Chad.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I'm going to be streaming on Facebook, because I already have done so. I mean, it ultimately comes down to, I mean, I know you guys hate them. Chad, I know you hate them. You said it before. I didn't know you did, Trevor, but it doesn't really surprise me. Like, it doesn't surprise me that anybody hates them, but the reality is they had to pick someone that was big. Like, what are they going to do? Throw them at, like, Trovo? Or, like, I know there's a bunch of other streaming services, but, like, they Microsoft needs to partner with a streaming service, right? Like they need that. It can't be Twitch because that's like, they're mortal enemies. You know what I mean? And, so it could be Twitch. Their own, if for nothing else, that I'm sure that would cause a whole number of regulatory issues if they really started partnering with them. So they need to find something. They needed to partner with someone. I mean, and there are very few fish in the sea. Like look at Restream and go to Restream.io and look at the options for who you can restream to. Unless they the whole point was that they wanted to just do a turnkey option where they can just pass everybody over. It was and let it go, and at least have a service that they can work with that is actually functional. They had no choice but Facebook. Yeah. So does it absolutely suck for Mixer streamers who didn't diversify? Yes, because anybody that was a Mixer streamer that just got passed, that was not Ninja or Shroud, that just got passed over to Facebook, Facebook's earning potential is absolutely lower than it was on Mixer. But the reality is, Mixer has been floundering for months. All the other streaming platforms, their traffic was growing. The data was available. It was all going up, except for Mixer. And so we assume, okay, everybody's home, so streaming, people are watching streams more now. People are watching streams that never watched them before, the audience was growing. But Mixer wasn't picking up steam. The writing was on the wall. Unless you're Ninja or Shroud, you have to diversify. So I feel terrible for a lot of those folks, but this is not a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, make do or figure something else out. It's the only other thing I guess maybe they could have gone with YouTube, but that's another.
But that's going to Google,
issue.
Who's their now one of their enemies.
Yeah. Conflict of interest with Stadia, and then when they do Project xCloud, they've talked about wanting to do the same kind of idea where you can click on a link and it opens xCloud and you start playing. You can't do that with YouTube anymore because they have Stadia and they're going to monopolize that. So, got to find that link on Facebook and open it up in xCloud servers,
which will be pretty easy. And I will say, a lot of folks commenting on this are the prime demographics, and the all that, Facebook is garbage because all the kids are gone. I want to be very clear. I use that data. I live in that data because a lot of Engaged Family Gaming's content, I stream the EFG show on Facebook live. There are plenty of people there that are in the target game demographic. Kids and Zoomers and young millennials maybe are not particularly paying attention to Facebook, but elder millennials like me and Gen X, all of which are people who are still buying and playing games and are a core audience and are truly the people they want to reach if they want to grow the audience for streaming, all are on Facebook. So I'm there. I use that service and app every day, and so do a huge number of my peers. So it's disgusting. You guys can say that, and that's fair. I'll never contradict you on that, Trevor. But is it stupid? No. It's the right call. Yeah. It was the right decision.
No, what you're saying is making a lot of sense. It does. It's just at the same time, it does feel like, hey, we're not going to work with these people because we don't like them, so we're going to give you to the devil. The devil is more appealing right now than those people. But that's me.
At a certain level, they're all equally bad.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Because there is no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism.
Yeah, and Twitch has had a lot of stuff come out recently that we might get into later that it is not a healthy environment. So, yeah.
At least they got rid of Dr. Disrespect.
Oh, God.
Whatever happened there.
Yeah.
Yep. Do we still not know? He said that they didn't.
He says he doesn't know. He put it on Steam. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know why I got banned." I'm like, "You know why you got banned? You fucking know."
I put my penis on the stream, but they didn't tell me I got banned because of my penis, so I don't know what happened.
No, there's
this
they
said
video.
To be clear, he did not put his penis on the stream.
He did.
The last few minutes of his stream is literally him talking to the camera, something like that, and then he gets some sort of notification. He looks at it, and he just kind of goes cold, and his stream ended a few minutes later, and then it was announced he was banned. So I have no idea what happened there. That's a weird situation. I'm very curious.
Before we move on,
obviously we'll find out. Anyway, so I'll stop. I know I'm dragging us along.
Steven mentioned elder millennials, which is the first time I've ever heard that term before. And I like to imagine that it's like the reskin of the regular millennial enemy you find at the beginning of the game, but it's like a palette swap, and he's a little bit stronger.
You've never heard that? I mean, really? You've never heard that term?
No,
I actually hadn't either, and I'm getting up there.
Well, so first off, I want to go on record as saying that at a certain point, generations are just astrology for like. It's just astrology for sociologists.
Yep.
So, like, because when you were born, data is showing that when you were born is less important than your economic status and access to technology, at least now, largely because there are people. There's one of my very dearest friends, Eleanor. She went to high school with me. She was born literally 30 days before I was. And I live on the internet, right? Like I have a Twitter and I made a TikTok. It was embarrassing, but I made one. And
it's just even dabbing.
And I dab. So I am live streaming a podcast on Twitch with 3 dudes who I have never met in person, and we only interact via Twitter. And she doesn't know how to use a wireless mouse.
Yeah.
Because, right? And that's, and so clearly, so that's a thing. But like the idea of an elder millennial is we're like millennials, but like we're older. So we still remember some of the, like I was born in 1980. So like I still have some Gen X nonsense. I had a
You're right on
phone.
the cusp.
Yeah.
Right on the cusp. Yeah.
They try and call it like, again, generations don't matter anymore. They used to be a big deal, right? Like Gen X is way different than boomers, etc. But like now it's so blended together. It's not like me and Chad can't talk, you know what I mean? Even though we're slightly different, but it's so, yeah. That's the elder millennials are just, I'm basically old, but like I act like the cool kids. So like I kind of live in that thing,
Yeah. I get it. No matter what generation, you've still had a new Crash Bandicoot game.
God damn it, Holden! Holy shit!
I mean, it may have been hot garbage, but we have it.
Yeah. Moving on to the third-party quest log, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, the first gameplay and details revealed. Thank you, Jonathan Dornbush at IGN. So this is an official sequel to Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, and it will be arriving on PS4 and Xbox One October 2nd, so not that far away. It's going to feature Crash and Coco, and actually, I saw in the trailer, too, you can play as the bad guys named Warped. I have no idea.
Dr. Disrespect?
I can't remember.
The goal of the sequel,
obviously, no one
here
has played Crash Bandicoot before. So.
I've never played it before either.
Me neither.
The goal of the sequel is to make it feel like the original. Oh, so have we all not played Crash Bandicoot?
I tried. I think I have appreciation for it and everything, but it wasn't my game when I was a kid.
I played Crash Team Racing when it came out like last year for like a good couple hours.
I guess, okay, so full disclosure, I was given a code by Activision to play the Crash trilogy, and I hated every minute of it.
So what's funny is I put this in here because I'm like, I don't have anything to say about Crash because I just don't care about Crash. I've never played it before, but I'll put it in there. I'm sure you guys will have something to say about Crash.
Not a damn
This
thing.
is my hot take. Come at me at the chat if y'all want to. Crash Bandicoot has never been a good video game. It's just PlayStation players had to play what you had. It's just he's Sonic the Hedgehog in Jordan.
I'm not going to say it's a bad game.
Trash. No, it's a bad game. It's fine. It's okay to say things are bad.
Trust me, I say plenty of things are bad, like Chad's opinion on Alan Wake. But I think
you agreed with every point I made.
Fine game. I think Crash Bandicoot is a fine game. It's just not my game, and I think I played the trilogy when it came out, and I was like, yeah, this is fine. It's a game. It's an old game. Whatever. I know people love and rave about this game. And so I know they're freaking thrilled about this, and I'm happy they're thrilled about it. I'm happy they're getting a fourth installment of a game that they haven't seen since 2002 or something like that. So, or no, not even that. Actually, it was earlier than that. So I'm happy for them.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy for them. It's just for me. I just whatever.
I had the dumbest reason for not wanting to play Crash. It's so stupid. My experience with Crash is Uncharted 4, where you are running towards the camera. And I hate that idea of running towards the camera.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, that's a broken camera. It's like, oh, you should run where you can't see. Like, that's a terrible idea for a game,
And they
in my
already
opinion.
showed that
And
in the trailer for Crash 4.
Yeah. And I'm like, I have no interest in that. Don't care. There's so many other games I could play. I will say, in this case, though, the art style of this does look really good. It looks really pretty. That's the only thing I can really say about it that's not,
Yeah. Sure, I guess. You know what? If there are people who are happy that this game is being made, I'm happy that they're happy because people deserve to be happy.
Yeah.
But, like, the Stockholm syndrome of liking Crash Bandicoot, like, play a real platformer. There are
I'm
several.
happy you're happy, but you have been coaxed into believing that it's good. What a statement.
It's fine. There are better platformers out there, I'm sure. Just play those, or play Crash. I mean, if it reminds you of your childhood, and you're the innocent time before you knew what a good game was, you're in. And I know that I'm like totally like fighting with Dusty in the chat, who said that Crash Bandicoot is his absolute jam, and then I must have immediately after that been like, well, sorry, bro.
Yeah, but I know Dusty. Dusty would just be like, you know what? That's fine.
I mean, we're not
chill.
fighting. I don't think we're
I
fighting. I hope not.
Dusty
If we
doesn't
are-
fight. It's fine. He's cool.
Okay, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next is Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we're talking about this right now. Cyberpunk 2077 had their first episode of the Night City Wire, which is just like a direct or a state of play or an Inside Xbox kind of thing, but just for Cyberpunk. They showed off a new trailer called The Gig, and it only showed footage from the prologue, which kind of blew my mind because it's already like, wow, this looks like a really diverse game with a lot of cool, interesting missions you're going to do. And like, yeah, those are just the first few missions of the game. Like, so excited. There's a new gang, and I think they're called the Marks, but I think I'm actually wrong. I think I misheard them. So I'm just going to write down the Marks, and if we're wrong, we're wrong.
So they're just like really big wrestling fans?
Karl Marx. Karl Marx.
Very different.
Very, very different, yeah. Throughout the game, you'll create a relationship with that gang as well as other games throughout the game. There's going to be an area called the Badlands, which I feel like they've talked about already, which is like an outer area surrounding Night City that's kind of more desolate, kind of more of like a rural kind of area, but there's people called the Nomads who live there, and you'll get to know them too. They talked about Ripper Docks again, which again, they've talked about that before as well, and that's going to specialize in replacing limbs or body parts with cybernetic enhancements, which you purchase with Eddies. They did announce, officially confirmed, that both Xbox and PlayStation versions will be cross-gen with a next-gen upgrade coming at a later time. At launch, the next-gen versions will have slight improvements. Another surprising announcement, they had Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which is actually going to be an anime show on Netflix, which is coming in 2022.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with that. And then kind of the last thing left on was Brain Dance, which is going to be essentially in the lore of the world in the original Cyberpunk 2020 tabletop game. It's essentially a way for people to recount memories, and they might use it for therapeutic purposes. But of course, this is a totally different kind of their own take on it as well. So they kind of morphed it into being a part of the media landscape in the world. So it's definitely going to be a part of the lore itself. But in
porn,
the game itself,
they also mentioned explicitly it's used for porn.
Yes, they said it's used for porn and adult content, but not with Oculus Go. That was discontinued well before 2077.
55 years previously. Yeah.
Yeah. In the game, it'll be used as an investigative tool. So you might go in somewhere, see what kind of happened right before someone died or something like that, and kind of get an idea of what to expect or something. But they said it's intended for story purposes. It's not like a collectible where you run around to get different brain dances. Like, it's actually intended for the story. What did you guys think of this footage?
I'm going to start so that you guys can tear me to pieces.
Okay, I'll say this. I haven't watched it yet, mainly because I'm tired of watching Cyberpunk stuff. I just want to just play it. I don't care to see any more about it. They could have stopped showing shit for they could have just stopped showing stuff after they're Keanu Reeves is in the fucking game. They could have stopped showing anything, and it still would have sold the same amount as if they did. So I just put the game out.
I don't know why. I literally can't tell you why, because all of the pieces seem cool, but I'm not excited for this game. And even watching this,
I'm not either.
I love that you came on here and you had to just, like, feel like you had to lie. No, this is a safe space.
I've really tried not to say anything about it because I don't think it looks bad. I'm just like, it looks fine.
Yeah.
It looks really pretty. I'm gonna watch my wife play it. That's what I'm gonna. That's how I'm gonna experience it.
The world seems like it's a cool, well-developed thing. There's all sorts of lore. The characters seem cool. The combat at times seems fun. I was okay. I was meh on the detective mode brain dance thing that they showed off, but I don't know why. But I look at this game and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna play that.
I think what it is for me is it has leftover baggage from The Witcher 3 for me because I played The Witcher 3 and I enjoyed The Witcher and all that stuff, but I got so fatigued in that game of just so much shit to do that I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm literally locked in, I'm frozen in place, not knowing what to do now, and I just don't want to experience that again. But yeah.
I'm gonna go a little bit farther and say I will not play this game. There is zero chance I will play this game. Yeah, so it looks cool, but I have never not wanted to play a cool-looking game more.
Right? I'm so on board.
And I know, like, my podcast co-host Amanda Farrow is like, this is her jam. She just wants to make herself in a cyberpunk world and, like, blow up some dudes and, like, drive some cars and, like, do some cyberpunk stuff. And I am like, you do that, I'm going to do just about anything else. And I'm very happy to miss the bus on this one. Now, part of this, I am absolutely convinced, is that for the last 7 years, I've been running a family gaming website. So, like, I only get so many adult games a year, like grown-up games. And this just does not strike me as one of the ones I want to play. And so... like, it's cool, and all the people that are, like, hella hype for it, I am so stoked for them to have all this discourse and enjoy it. I am gonna do anything else.
Well, like, the weird thing is for me is, like, I love cyberpunk stuff. Like the 2012 Dread movie, that's my fucking jam. Like, I love that shit. Like, on paper, this game is perfect for me, but I look at it, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to play you.
I love the idea that maybe no one likes this game, but we're all too scared to say we don't like it because it's not cool to say that.
No. I know that my friend Dan, like, every time a piece of news comes out about Cyberpunk, he's texting me about it. He's talking to me about it. He, like, when it got delayed again to November, like, he's just like, I feel personally attacked right now. Like, I know, like, my wife Tara, she is all in on this. This is her fucking game of the year, no matter what. Like, this game was made for her, and I'm like, that's great. I'm gonna watch you play it. I'm gonna enjoy seeing you play it. I probably will not play it, but that's, I know that there's people that are excited for it. I know there are. They exist and they're everywhere. It still kind of blows my mind though that this game was announced before the generation that it's ending was out.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Holden, save our podcast from some hate mail.
Yes.
I was actually only half listening to what you guys were saying. I think we're on the same page, actually. I'm so pumped. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. To be serious, though, the episode we just saw itself of, like, the new stuff, the trailer was cool, but everyone's kind of like, I don't, like, you're kind of saying, Trevor, I don't need to see anything else.
Yeah.
I don't really need to. Like, I know I'm going to get this game, just like you guys know you're not going to get it. Like,
well, no,
I'm sold already. Like, I already know exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm going to get it. And, like, I might play it and everything. Mainly, I'm going to watch my wife play it. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of cool stuff. I need to know what's going on with Keanu Reeves in this damn game. Like, that's the main thing that's pulling me towards, like, what is Keanu Reeves doing? And I need to see it. But that's the only thing that's pulling for me. I haven't seen really anything else that's made me go, I need to play this game.
So this is announced in 2012. I think it's 2012. Yeah, like, I was
2013.
So ecstatic.
It was the year that this generation came out. I looked it up.
Wow. Okay. So, Jesus, long time ago. I've been hyped just from that trailer alone. Mm-hmm. I knew, like, oh, when that comes out, I'm so into it. And here's the thing, I'm not a Witcher fan. I tried The Witcher 3 like 50 bazillion times. I put up to 10 hours like per time trying it, and I was just like, this isn't for me. But I know I can respect. I know it's like a well crafted RPG experience. But it's just like I couldn't get into it. So I'm like, That's my only hesitation with Cyberpunk is that I know I have never enjoyed a Cyberpunk CD Projekt Red game before, but this is so my alley. It's the Blade Runner. It's got, like you said, Judge Dredd, like that. Absolutely, well, specifically just Dredd, Dredd.
Just Dredd.
That was such a good movie. I love the Cyberpunk aesthetic. It was really cool for me to see like daytime in the Cyberpunk world and what that looks like. It's all very exciting to me, but I don't need to see anything else. I'm already sold. Stop showing me stuff.
If I could reenact Blade Runner in the game, it would be my game of the year. Like, I'm just saying. But like, I'm not at all saying that this game is bad or is going to be bad. This is the one game this year that I'm like, this could give Last of Us 2 the run for its money for game of the year. It's the only, in my opinion, that I can see, it's the only game that is coming out that could possibly do that. So it is absolutely going to be a good game. It's going to sell gangbusters, and it's going to have mass. God fucking damn it, Chad. Oh my God.
That is 2020. So Chad has a great point.
Yeah, it could be.
You need to acknowledge that, Chad. Trevor. Acknowledge that, Trevor.
Hashtag fuck Chad.
I mean, I don't think there's a chance it's going to be a bad game, but I think if I'm not going to like it, it's going to be because I'm just not interested in the kind of the moment to moment like I was in The Witcher. But like when I saw that 44-minute gameplay demo, I'm like, no, this looks like it's so my alley. The how ambitious it is would normally scare me because after the No Man's Sky experience, how that went, even though I still like that game, but obviously the over hyped. I trust that's not going to be the case here. I don't think that they would hype it to this degree.
Oh no,
because of the pedigree that they have. So I'm so ecstatic to see it. I'm actually really surprised I'm the only one.
I was surprised too.
I'm really.
Honestly, I'm surprised that you didn't somehow segue that into the next news topic because there was a pause and I was waiting for it.
Yeah. So all right, I feel like this might be the inverse because I am so unbelievably unexcited for this next game. June's Marvel Avengers War Table bullshit, whatever it was shown off.
Yeah.
And so they had a new story trailer. It shows the Avengers are on trial for causing unnecessary damage and for posing a danger to society. Basically just like Civil War. Kind of very similar kind of thing.
Yep.
There's going to be a villain called MODOK who will be the main villain of the story, and he works with AIM to make a robot army that he can control his mind.
Steven, I had the same reaction.
Know who MODOK is?
I had the same reaction. He's like, some villain, he must be
MODOK?
new.
Am I saying that correctly?
Okay.
Thank you, Dallas. Thank you. He says he's here for me on Cyberpunk. I'm assuming he's not here for me on Avengers. I know Dallas.
First off, if you don't know who MODOK is, then I actually think it's that actually kind of explains why you're not kind of hyped for this.
I'm not a big superhero person. I like going to see Marvel movies, but I'm not like, ooh, man, like I can't wait until they bring back the Silver Surfer and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Like, that's not why I get excited about this stuff.
Well, Steven, before you say that people don't know who MODOK is, that's why elevate. So here's the thing: when MODOK showed up in spoilers for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, I was like, "That's fucking cool as shit." They put MODOK in here. Hell yeah, let's fucking go. And then he showed up in the Avengers trailer, and I went, "This made it worse." Because you showed me a game where it's like, oh, we have super realistic graphics, and for some reason everyone's wearing a wig, and we're going with realism on this, and we're going for beautiful graphics, and then we put fucking MODOK in the fucking game. Why?
Also, wasn't Taskmaster the villain they showed off originally? What happened with that?
From A to
There are multiple.
Yeah, they got a shitload of villains in this one. So
Think
here's
of
the thing.
MODOK like the Thor, not the Thanos, like the overarching villain, and then there will be other villains.
The Thor, the overarching villain Thor that everyone is against.
So here's the thing. Avengers is the coolest looking game I'm not interested in. Just like what Steven was talking, or I can't remember who was saying that. Like it hits like every bullet. Like if you read the bullet points out on paper, that should be like my fucking jam. Like it's even got Destiny shit in there. Like they showed a vendor and it's got fucking stats on it and everything. And all I thought was, I don't have the time for this or the care. Like, and the combat somehow looks so boring. Like Thor is swinging around his hammer and beating stuff up, and I almost fell asleep. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I'm very confused. Somebody explain it to me.
I am so in denial on this game. This game, I will 100% be stoked for until it comes out and sucks. And this trailer showed that it's probably not going to be good, but I'm still so hyped for it. Because looking at that gameplay, the 7 minutes of gameplay that they showed us, which was really 45 seconds of gameplay repeated for 7 minutes, it's just a bunch of gray-ass robots, and then you jump from dome to dome, destroying the same other robot over and over with the same moves. And then they spent the rest of the trailer like touting, oh my gosh, you can customize it in so many ways, and you could have this move do this and this and this. And I was like, cool, why didn't you show us any of that? You showed us the same 3 Thor moves through all of these things. So it has, you're right, the bullet points of this thing make it sound like it could be, with like all the armor that you can collect from all the different comic books, the different powers that you could customize, the different ways that you want, and the play styles, and the growing roster of superheroes that you can play for free, with new content coming for free. Like, that sounds so dope. But man, it looks like such a bad game. And I'm not going to have a good time playing it, but that's not going to stop me from buying it.
I think
it looks like
sorry, go ahead.
It looks like an overly ambitious licensed game not attached to a movie. Yep. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
All this really cheesy dialogue of like, better get them robots over there, like that kind of stuff. Like, that's all in there. Like, and it's no offense to Nolan North, but I heard it. I'm like, oh, that's Nolan North. I wasn't thinking like,
it's like, oh, that sounds like
I'm like,
that
doesn't sound like Tony Stark. That sounds like Nolan North. Like, and I know because it is Nolan North, but I'm like, it doesn't have the pizzazz that any Tony Stark has. I'm not just comparing him to Robert Downey Jr. because that would just be completely unfair. But I'm just, you just sound like you're Nolan North just delivering lines, like Saints Row 4 when you could just be Nolan North.
Is that really a thing? I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
no. In Saints Row 4, when you're making a character, you choose your voice style, and literally the last one is Nolan North. Like, it's male voice 1, male voice 2, male voice 3, Nolan North. It's one of the best jokes in video games. But like, I think what's worrying me is that, like I said, I saw a lot of Destiny in it with the whole like, oh, your armor has stats and everything like that, and all I could see was like Destiny 1 year 1 or 2, where I'm like, this is gonna be a hot mess at launch because you all have never done a games as service before. You have no experience in this. I don't know if people who work there have like worked on other games and stuff, but as a main studio, you've never done one of these before. Your last game was, I think their last game was Tomb Raider, wasn't it?
Right, yeah, it was the last.
So you're going from Tomb Raider, which is a very heavy story-driven game where you're going around and going from point A to point B, and now you're making a co-op online game with stats that matter, changing up your moves and doing all that stuff. And the main important point is to be replayable. If those missions are like freaking Battleborn, where it's this long freaking mission that is the same every fucking time and the combat is not interesting, it's gonna die the same slow death that Battleborn did.
That is exactly what I was thinking. Because I'm watching this going, okay, you pick a story mission. Do you do that same story mission with your friends over and over with the cutscenes and everything? Like, that sounds miserable. Like, even Destiny handles this well, because technically in Destiny you can do the same missions over and over again. But it's like, there's not really a cutscene, it's just like a ghost will talk to you or something like that. And like, you can just ignore him and talk to your friends. I'm speculating, I don't know this, but I just feel like you're going to be playing this game and then you're going to jump into a cutscene. And it just, that's not going to work for what it's trying to do. And they didn't show that, but I still got that vibe, because they always said, oh, and you can do these like hero story missions, and then so you can do with your friends. I'm like, I don't know, this doesn't sound like it's going to work for me. I also already wasn't sold on the game to begin with. I've been hugely skeptical of this game since it was first announced. So,
but all that said, I'm probably going to buy it at launch because I gotta know how it is. It's one of those where I'm like, this game sounds so cool that I need to know if I like it, and I don't think a review's going to tell me that. So I'm probably going to buy it at launch.
The one thing I'm holding out hope for is that it is Crystal Dynamics and it is Eidos Montreal, and they are talented people, and they've brought on a lot of really talented voice acting, and I'm hoping that the story, so like the cutscenes and the single player stuff that we haven't seen so far, I'm hoping that's like really, really stellar writing, and that it's going to make it all worth it.
I don't know if Brett's in the chat or just listening to this on the podcast, but he's screaming at us right now.
All right, my turn.
Yes, go for it. Let's hear it.
I'm going to bring it home here. This game is going to be fucking amazing. All right, how about this?
This is the inverse of Cyberpunk.
Let me start off my statement. All of you go fuck yourself.
First off, okay. Everything that you guys said you're worried about is actually kind of what I'm okay with and excited about and used to, because I play World of Warcraft. And so here's what's really interesting to me. Every Friday, I tag along with some people. Not every Friday, but on a bunch of Fridays, I go do the same freaking dungeon with the same freaking people, and I fight the same freaking bosses. And literally, I play a paladin, so my job is to hit Shift 2 and not stand in the red shit. And that's literally my job.
Did you take damage?
Okay.
You're mine.
And so that's it. Shift F2. Sometimes I gotta get fancy and do Control 2. Like if I want to get real crazy.
That's too much.
Steven, I played a paladin too. I appreciate you so much right now.
So repetitive does not bother me. Repetitive, they can fix some of that. My understanding was that the story stuff, the story, like capital S story, was going to be in single player stuff. And that there are going to be story bits in some of the Warzone, but like the bulk of the four of us suit up as four Avengers and go into it, those are going to be they'll have story bits, but it doesn't sound like they will have full-on cutscenes and full-on stuff. It will just be scenarios, and there may be story on the way in and on the way out, but like in the middle of it, it's hard to do that. So if they are listening to we have to assume that they're not creating this game in a vacuum. Like you said, you don't want it to be like Battleborn. Battleborn happened and failed before this game went into development.
Yeah.
So we have to assume, and this could 100% fall flat on its face. I get it. But I have to assume that they were like, okay, let's look at all the multiplayer games that are in this ballpark.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine no one put Battleborn on there as like this is one of the most catastrophic failures. I can't imagine nobody did.
Well, see, here's the thing. You're saying the repetitive thing, and I get that because again, we play Destiny. Like, Destiny is repetitive the game. Like, but it's is the repetitiveness fun? Like in World of Warcraft, I understand that. Okay,
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I was remarkably quiet while y'all were trashing my dream.
All right, I'll shut up.
I mean, okay. So the repetitive thing, I think there will be a solution to that. I also think this is one of those games that when we buy it day one, because you're damn right I'm buying this day one, it's going to be a fundamentally different game than it is day 365.
Oh, 100%.
So this is one of those, the game is going to get better, and so it's one of those I just want to be in on the ground floor for the experience. But the repetitive stuff, either they will have fixed it in the beginning or it will get fixed over time. I don't give a crap about repetitive. I play World of Warcraft, so repetitive is fine as long as I am interested in what I'm doing. Now I know you said that combat looked boring. I'm gonna be super real with you. I don't think I don't feel like we were watching the same trailer. Like, again, I'm not impacted by doing the same thing over and over again. But like, I thought that was cool. I was like, hey, check it out. I'm Thor in a t-shirt and I got these, awesome broad shoulders and I'm whacking dudes with hammers. And I was like, this is a game I could play. I could do this. I think I could actually do this. Whereas they show me a Dark Souls trailer and I'm like, there's no way I could do this. Like, I actually think I could play this video game. You can do it. And beyond that, like, it's not necessarily repetitive because you are going to be leveling up and playing through all of the Avengers, and all of them play differently. And that's the one thing that I noticed and I really appreciated. You saw Iron Man flying around, and he flies differently than Thor does. Mm-hmm. And so his moves are different. Now, they really didn't do a very good job of showcasing all of the they told us there were going to be differences. They didn't show us that there will be differences. Yeah. But I think we can all agree just obviously that there will be a difference between the way Black Widow fights versus the way that the Hulk fights. And so that changes it. And that's another way I do it. I have 4 level 120 characters in World of Warcraft. So if I don't feel like being a healer, double XP is broken. It's worth mentioning they're giving double XP in World of Warcraft right now, so it's way easy to get 120 characters. Anyway,
okay.
So there's that. That's the repetitive thing. The other thing is, I'm just going to be super real with you. That ever-growing roster of heroes, we kind of hand-waved that. That just sounds freaking amazing to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a whole news post, like a whole like section of this was us talking about them adding freaking Min Min to Smash, right? And I love Min Min. I think Min Min's a cool character. That's neat, cool, whatever.
No bad words about Min Min. None.
Listen, I'm not
I won't hear it. I will fight you in the ramen bowl.
I hate that.
Is that
so
like
much.
Hell in a Cell, but for nerds?
No, that's the Arms League. That's the Arms Arena. That's for Min Min's character.
Okay, all right.
Oh my god.
Fair. So basically Hell in a Cell for nerds. You just explained it in a very different way. So the that roster, like, I just am fast forwarding to. So this is coming out in September or October. Like, let's picture January, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, like Hawkeye's here, and yeah, like, and this is it. Vision is going to be in this game.
Oh, that's cool.
And because he's a freaking Avenger, and he was in the movies, and Vision is my favorite superhero, literally of all time, full stop. And so, literally, I openly wept when he appeared on screen in Civil War. Openly wept to the point where my oldest son, who was there, was like, "Dad, are you okay?" And I'm like, "It's the Vision, son. Give me a minute." And so that by itself,
Infinity War is heartbreaking for you. Then, sorry to interrupt.
Not only was it heartbreaking, the only reason it wasn't worse was because I saw it coming from a mile away.
Yeah,
because whenever they're like, it's a two-parter, I was like, oh, so he's going to get all the junk and he's going to get all the stones and put him in the hammer or put him in his gauntlet and he's going to do some stuff. And I'm like, in order to get the one off of Vision, you're going to have to rip it off his head. And I'm going to have to watch that. And guess what? They made me do it. The only thing that sucked is that he was punked. The thing that sucked about that, I guess weird tangent, but whatever, I'm on the show, so tangents are a thing. Is that they punked him like in the beginning of so he didn't get to like whoop anybody's ass. He was just like a chump for the entire movie, and that sucked. But like whatever, it's fine because we got some really awesome Scarlet Witch moments out of it, which is better. But anyway, I think the I know what happened is the three of you guys kind of hand waved like I think a lot of some of the awesome stuff and focused on some of the negative, and I think. I agree they have more to show us. The good news is there's another war table next month, and they're going to show us more. So I still believe. Also, it's going to be a T-rated online, superhero game, punching dudes in the face. Like, I have to play it anyway for work. So, but I'm super stoked for this game. Maybe in spite of.
I'll tell you what, Steven. If they announce that one of the expandable characters is Spider-Man voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, it'll be my game of the year.
I'm in.
It'll be my game of the fucking year.
But here's the thing. That's not outside the realm of possibility.
So that's the thing. In the trailer, this is the one thing that I was just like, oh. The reporter guy that gets knocked down before Thor shows up has a Daily Bugle microphone. So, maybe.
I mean,
Marvel is touching this game and the Spider-Man game. Like, it's still is that connection still.
Good,
mm-hmm.
Good.
Listen, it's possible.
I want it. But no, you make really good points. And my gut reaction is. It looked bland, but I understand what you're saying. And like I said, I am going to pick this game up at lunch. Here's the thing. I want this game to be awesome. I want to love this game. I want to hop on this game as much as I hop on Destiny. If it does that, I will be over freaking joyed. It's just right now, I don't see it. But maybe I'll feel different when I have it in my hand. Just like with God of War, they said we cannot describe to you the feeling of the Leviathan axe until you use it. If I get the same feeling pulling Mjolnir to myself as the Leviathan axe, oh yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. God, we're not even through the news yet, are we? Jesus Christ.
The general asked me at the beginning, like, hey, how long is it going to be? I was like, oh, it's me and these dudes. It's going to be a while.
So I think this is a good way to transition into...
It's now time for Summer Games Bet Fest. Bet. That's right, it's Summer Games Bet Fest, where we take bets on summer's best game fest. Summer Game Fest, summer of gaming, and the rest are best for bets. Bet.
I hate you, Brett.
He loves you. Brent loves everyone. Not equally. He loves me most.
So before we get to this week's bet, an update on last week's bet. So we just ran with the assumption that Let's Go Gold and Silver is going to be a thing, and it wasn't. So all of our bets were wrong. So there's that. This week we're going to be betting on what is going to be the Metacritic score for the Avengers when it comes out. Now, Chad and Trevor very graciously pointed this out to me that it's an online game, so its reviews are going to be coming out at a different frequency than, say, like Last of Us, where it's kind of all at once because it's a single-player game. So review Metacritic score as of September 31st, so a few weeks after it launches, what that Metacritic score is going to be.
And we're doing scaling, right? We're going to like 70 to 80 or 80 to 90. Right, that's what we're doing for the bet.
Yeah, within 10-point range. Yeah.
Okay.
So Dusty already put in 73, but if you want to change that, so it's a range, you can do that, Dusty. Unless you're really confident, in which case I appreciate.
We're also going
to
keep track of everyone's chat answer too. I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. You're going to vote on Twitter.
I'll screenshot it. Everybody put your stuff in right now. I'm going to screenshot it.
Here's where I think it's going to land. I think it's going to land in the sevens, like the 7-something. I don't think it's going to dip as far down as Anthem did at launch and be like in the 5 or 6 range, but I think it's going to hit 7s for sure. It is not going to be 8s or 9s right at launch, but it will get there. If people end up doing like a re-review a year later, it'll probably review that way, but low 7s is what I'm saying.
So you're thinking like 70 to 80?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to write this down in a brand new note.
What about you, Steven? What do you think?
I'm not betting. So, you know what? Because I have to contradict Chad, I'm going to say it's going to land in the 8s. And this is why. I think, the game still has months before it's going to come out, and so we can say that it doesn't look good, whatever. I think that the game is going to be good enough to get an 8, at which point then it's just, I don't think an 8 is outside the realm of possibility. So I'm going to go for it. Because I have to I've established my personal brand. I have to contradict Chad. He said it can't be an 8, so now I have to say.
I thought your personal brand was #Steven is bad at games.
No.
It can be both. Remember, #Steven is bad at games. #fuck Chad.
That's right. No space.
Holden, you want to go?
Use 30 hashtags on Instagram, so I got plenty.
I just realized something else. I forgot to consider in this. Metacritic will review technically differently PS4, Xbox One, PC. Do you want to say PS4 version is the one we're going off of?
Yeah, the one that more people have the ability to get because it's the better console right now.
Full stop.
Exactly.
Wow. You're not wrong, but wow, weird. Yeah. Weird flex.
I
think we can just say, so if something gets reviewed poorer on another console, like if it's, a 78 Metacritic on PS4 and a 73 on Xbox One or something, then it's not the game's fault.
Yeah.
It's, something else. So I would just just go with whatever the highest is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the game,
unless it's PC and you can max out the settings. The highest console. Let's do highest console.
Sure. Yeah. I guess that's fine.
Okay.
Holden, do you want to go or should I?
Go ahead.
I'm with Chad. Mostly, I'm gonna say 70s to 80s. But I feel it's gonna be high 70s. I feel like this is gonna be. It could get an 80. But I think it's going to be mainly if we're putting exact numbers on it, I'd say 77, 78, somewhere around there. Again, that is good. That is a good game. And I think games at service at launch to get that is fantastic. I don't know if I agree with you, Holden, that down the line it will go up or anything like that. Mainly because I watch Destiny reviews and they're hilarious. But yeah, I think that's where it's going to be.
So, I'm going to say 60s, 70s. It's going to be in that range. And here's why. One, I still think it looks bland and boring and just uninteresting. I just don't care. I think that's a big part of it. I'm just very apathetic towards it in general. But nothing in the trailer made me go, oh, it looks like good gameplay. It was framey in a trailer, which is never a good sign. that's not good. Trevor, you made a great point earlier before we were talking about the betting on that. This is Crystal Dynamics' first games as service game, which means it's kind of their first game with serious online components to it. How's that going to go, especially with the demand this game is going to have? I think it's going to be messy at launch. So I'm saying 60 to 70 because I just don't think it's going to work as well as we would like it to. On top of the single player already being a little janky.
If I had to put like a real like Nostradamus like vision out there, I think it is going to run like ass on the current gen, and then when next gen comes out and it instantly upgrades, it's how the game was meant to be played.
That's going to be the case with so many games, but yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I feel like that was a good range there. It's a good bit. Yeah. I'll even go down to the middle. It's like if it's the lower 70s, Chad wins that one. If it's the higher 70s, fuck you, Chad.
There's no way to know. It's impossible to know. Metacritic doesn't get that specific.
I thought they did.
They do.
Huh? Oh, okay. Fuck you.
Before we move on to our main quest, let me tell everyone out there about Affable Idiots. It is the brand under which we fall, as well as our sister podcast, AAWI, and also with you, and so much more to come. But before we get to the more to come part, we need your help. The first thing and the easiest thing you can do is you can go to subscribe to us right now. You can do it on Twitch if you're watching live, all of you. Every single one of you in that chat better be subscribed on Twitch. You can also go to our YouTube channel for Respawn Aim Fire, for AAWI, and for Affable Idiots. We need all three. Links in the description right now. Look down at your phone, look down at your computer, tap the little button, it's there. Go create 17 Gmail accounts. Subscribe to all of those because we need vanity links and we don't have enough subscribers yet to get there. Go listen to us on podcast services, obviously. 5 stars. Anything less than 5 stars, stop listening to us because we only want perfect people. And finally, you can go to patreon.com/respawnaimfire. Float us $1 or more, and you get everything we have to offer, including really dope wallpapers. You get the ability to play with us every single week on game nights and Nintendo game nights, and you get to influence what we play each month for Barf. And a reminder, we held the vote. You patrons voted for Fable Anniversary. I don't know if we've announced that on this podcast yet. But Fable Anniversary is what we're playing in July. So make sure that's on Game Pass, obviously, because it's a Microsoft game. If you still have the original Xbox laying around with that, you can play that too. But the first Fable is what we're playing. Holden!
All right.
I've been playing with this little thing all night. I just
real quick before you do that, on my podcast, I'm like, hey, leave a review. Don't be a jerk. Chad's just like, fuck you, leave.
4 stars or less, you're not my friend, and I only want my friends here.
So we're going to be talking about, for the main quest, some abusive workplace and industry practices that kind of came to light this week. I didn't include it in the notes, but I actually wanted to include it because I was listening to Kind of Funny's discussion on it, and they made me realize this is worth mentioning. A lot of this discussion kind of started when a lot of members of IGN started talking about Steve Butts and Tal Bevins, who were kind of just shitty managers, it sounds like really shitty managers with really bad work practice habits, and just treating people badly, constantly nagging them, just not good stuff. And that spawned a lot of people sharing experiences of what their work experience has been, and that led to a lot of discussion about sexual harassment issues at work. So there were a lot of incidences. We can't cover all of them just because there were unfortunately too many to discuss. I did want to focus on the Ubisoft accusations, the Insomniac stuff, Techland, and then another story that I felt like didn't get enough attention. And I wanted to talk about that one. And I'm just going to start with that one. I'm going to read through all of it, and then we can kind of just discuss it all as a big chunk. Does that work for you guys?
Yep.
Yes, I am still listening. While you're talking, I can hear you. I'm going to go use the restroom, but I'm still listening to everything you say, I promise.
God, I hope that's not the live mic.
So first story is going to be about Paola Alejandra. She is an esports she's an esports broadcaster, I believe. She's like an announcer for esports, right? Yeah. So
she's a host. I mean, she she wears many hats.
Yeah. So she had a twit longer, which is just a really long. It's a blog post essentially, and it's called "Here's My Story." So we're going to run through that first. So Paola calls out Blaine Howard, who is a senior PR manager for Xbox,
Chad,
according
your
to
mic
his
is live.
Twitter profile. That's funny. I feel like I should wait.
Can we get an F in the chat to pay respect? Can so?
Okay. Oh
yeah,
my
we can
God.
literally. I kind of want to wait to talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to Chad peeing while I discuss this topic.
Yeah, no, let's just yeah. We okay.
Chad is back.
All right. Yes.
That,
for
I gotta
anyone
say,
who's in
that
the
tops
chat,
Alex running down the stairs easily.
Thanks,
okay, re-serious ourselves because serious topic.
Yes.
Yes.
So Paola Alejandra, the long post. The first thing she did, she called out somebody named Blaine Howard. He's a senior PR manager for Xbox. That's according to his Twitter profile. He was allegedly using his industry power to bring her to his hotel room at an industry event. The next day, she saw a post about his recent engagement. I then went to Blaine's Twitter account, and he made no statement, nothing about this whatsoever. The next person she talked about was Billy Shibley, and who she met at BlizzCon, and she says, quote, they became buddies immediately. She later found out that Billy had spread rumors about them sleeping together. The claims were false. At the time, Paola was on a Destiny fire team. Oh, Billy is, he works at Bungie for working on Destiny. That's kind of what... Yeah, so he's a prominent person as well. At the time, Paola was on a Destiny Fire team with Andrea Renee of What's Good Games, and Paola didn't want Andrea to invite Billy to join their game one night just because of the discomfort of what her and Billy had gone through. She expressed this to Andrea, and Andrea just said, I've known Billy for a long time. He wouldn't do that, and dismissed it. But it kind of got worse after that. After that event, Paola claims that Andrea had blacklisted her, kind of ostracized her from the group, and going as far as to claim that the awkwardness resulted from Paola's jealousy for not being part of What's Good Games. Paola said that she was doing esports, so that's kind of the direction she was going in. She didn't really want to be on What's Good Games anyway. I went to Billy's Twitter account, and he hasn't made a statement about this. Andrea made a statement about the larger claims that were happening in the industry. She made the statement that she hasn't always been the best ally, but didn't specifically mention Paola on Twitter. They did do about a 3-minute little discussion on What's Good Games where she was a little bit more specific, and she could have been a better ally in that situation. And then it kind of went back to the regular podcast after that. Streamers Mike, Carr, and May, who are also known as Diesel and Mrs. May, were accused of pressuring Paola to engage in sexual activity with them. They went as far as sending Paola photos of their acts together. Neither Mike, Carr, nor May have made statements about this on Twitter. Paola also claims that Zombie Unicorn made an active effort to make her feel unwelcome at events and part of the industry in general. According to Paola, Zombie Unicorn would post on Twitter questioning her involvement at certain events, actively made attempts to discredit her, suggesting that Paola only made it so far because she had slept her way upwards. And apparently Twitch and mutual friends did nothing despite Paola reaching out. Zombie Unicorn also has not made a statement about this on Twitter. In that specific case, though, she is dealing with her own issues with sexual abuse from another streamer called Syndicate. So this kid's not a unicorn. She's kind of involved in that right now, so it's a little more understandable. The final allegations were against one of her former boyfriends, Elite Shot, and it was an emotionally abusive relationship, as he describes it. She says that she struggled with him talking to other women behind her back, but also later on in the relationship, he was sharing anti-Semitic, homophobic views, also kind of delved in a lot of conspiratorial thoughts. Elite Shot denied the claims of anti-Semitism, but didn't say anything else. He only denied the claims of anti-Semitism, and he claimed he didn't even know what the term was, so he had to look it up. If you don't know what anti-Semitism is, which honestly, to be frank, I don't believe him. There's no way you don't know what that means. It just means you have to put it lightly, a hatred of Jewish people. That's the latest way I think you could put it. It's a disgusting ideology.
Yeah.
He did lose his sponsorship with Astro Gaming, which he was with for more than 5 years. Paola is also sponsored by Astro Gaming. She's, of course, still sponsored by them. So that happened with Paola's situation. Then we're going to jump into some of the game studios that have had their own issues to work out as well. Ubisoft and Insomniac are facing allegations over mistreatment of women. This is from Hayden Tyler at gamesindustry.biz. There were dozens of allegations were made against Ubisoft executives, ranging from physical assault, threats of rape, and a racist and homophobic work culture at Ubisoft Sofia. A Ubisoft spokesperson said the company is deeply concerned and takes the claims very seriously. A former character artist for Insomniac posted to Twitter saying her former employer had incidents involving double digits of women harmed by the company's culture. Insomniac has throttled careers of great women, left them no option but to resign, and protected sexual predators. Insomniac responded to the allegations with 2 tweets. The first, "We are aware of the allegations made in a former employee's tweets today and had taken numerous steps to address them. For legal and privacy reasons, we will not respond to individual allegations about specific former employees." The next tweet said, "We are a workplace family that has actively promoted diversity, inclusion, representation, and equality for our entire existence. We will continue to do so every single day." Next article here is report to Ubisoft execs and other employees placed on leave in wake of allegations. This is from Eric Van Allen at US Gamer. Tommy Francois and Maxime Balland, both VPs at Ubisoft, and other employees beneath them have been placed on administrative leave as a result of the accusations against them. These include the creative director of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ashraf Ismail. Ubisoft has launched several internal investigations with the help of a specialized external counsel. Until the investigations are complete, Ubisoft will not be commenting further. And the final article here, multiple women accuse writer Chris Avellone of sexual misconduct. Ethan Gatch at Kotaku. Writer of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance and Fallout New Vegas, Chris Avellone has been accused of sexual misconduct, including sexual harassment and assault. Chris was partnering with Techland on Dying Light 2, but after investigating, Techland has severed ties with Chris. Ghetto Studios, who he was also working with, has cut off ties while working with their game, The Waylanders. While working for Obsidian, Chris would flaunt his company card and buy drinks for everyone, but he was really putting pressure on specific women to drink more than they were comfortable with, after which Chris would find an opportunity to force himself on the women. On Twitter, Chris responded to one of his accusers. He added the person and then said, "Then talk to me. I never meant any harm to you or Jackie, and I had thought these things between us had ended well all up until seeing you off. That said, if I can't do anything to apologize for it, I understand, and there's nothing more to be done." The article about Chris Avellone went into great detail about what he was doing, and it absolutely is in the category of sexual assault. I just didn't want to mention the specifics of like what he had done.
Yeah.
Just, it's already a heavy conversation to begin with. That's not, and the sad thing is that this is not all the stories. There were tons of stories that were coming out. And as a matter of fact, in my research, I kept finding more, and there are a lot of stories being shared this week. Kind of Funny, I think, did a good thing by making about a 2-hour discussion between Tim Geddes, Nick Scarpino, and Greg Miller, just discussing like how they can really make their community better and kind of handle these things more effectively. They were talking about it very broadly, because more like about bullying, but also this kind of stuff as well. This is serious, and it needs to be discussed.
Another one that did something similar when it came to community stuff was Rooster Teeth, specifically Achievement Hunter. Mika Burton put out a thing saying how she felt like she was just completely hung out to dry. She basically went on this not rant's not the right word. She started talking about on their podcast Off Topic about what it's like to not only be a woman but be a woman of color in that community, and how every time someone shits on her for anything, no one steps up to the plate to defend her or anything like that. Anytime she tries to, she just gets more shit. And so that brought up a lot of stuff with Fiona, who works there right now. And if you haven't watched the episode of Off Topic where they talk about it, Jeff says a lot of really good stuff. Everyone says a lot of good stuff, but Fiona, everything she says there, I recommend just going and watching and listening to what she has to say. It was powerful stuff. But all the game industry, sexual allegations and everything like that. First off, let's just be clear. We are 4 white men sitting here talking about this, so we are not the best people to like really say a lot of stuff about it. But the main thing that I think is a good message is a shout out to everyone that had the courage to say this stuff, to come forward and say what is going on and call people out for the shit that they are doing. I'm not going to say I know it's not easy. I'm sure it's not easy. But this is shitty. This sucks. It sucks to know that it's not just happening, it's happening so much still.
And it's happening with people that you've seen in content that you enjoy. It's not like it's that far away.
Yeah. It's shitty. It sucks. And I mean, yeah, I hate that it happens. And the number one thing that I think is that a lot of people are kind of taking away from this who, you know, obviously are not affected by this. They are not the victims here. They are not the ones that that went through or are continuing to go through this stuff. But I think a lot more people are going like, hey, if you fucking see something, say it. Call them out in the moment. Be like, and I get a lot of this stuff was not seen, but if I know that there were some instances that I've heard of where it was, and people didn't say anything, and a lot of people in ours are like Greg Miller used to say, "Don't feed the trolls," and I even said that for a while. I'm like, don't look in the comment section. That's under the bridge where the trolls live. Fuck that. If people are being shitty in the community, they need to be, you know, counted, you know, called out, accounted for, and kicked out if need be. So, that's what I gotta say on it.
And if you guys have anything else to before I go on, do you guys?
I want to add one thing, only because I have some additional context for one of the news pieces, just because I happen to be part of a Facebook group, where I was able to see it. So Andrea Renee actually did address it explicitly in the What's Good Games Facebook group, because her community, like put her on blast. So
I saw on Twitter they were destroying her. They were really pissed that she didn't mention enough on Twitter.
Yeah. So her she did it in Facebook. And so, I mean, I didn't go look for it, and I'm not going to read her words. But more or less, she repeated she should have been a better ally and shouldn't have been as dismissive and wouldn't be that way moving forward. And I think, so I think that's part of it. The other piece regarding the blacklisting, she categorically denied that. And, but said that, but essentially apologized for her feeling, for whatever she did that made her feel that way. So that's really all she said. I happened to see it. She addressed it. It was a really long response because essentially within the community, there were some, obviously it was kind of divided, and most people just wanted her to at least address it explicitly, whether she denied it or not. But the context of what happened previously, for me, what I wanted to hear, what I wanted to read, because obviously I wasn't going to hear what she was saying in that moment. The thing that I wanted to read as a member of that community was language of someone who, no matter what had happened, there was an understanding that the behavior would be different. And that's the sense that I got as a person, because, there's like three categories, right? In all of this, there were the victims, there were the perpetrators, and then there were a lot of these people like in the middle who were, quote unquote, like not believing or not being the solution to the problem that they could be. And I feel like a lot of, because I mean, I live on Twitter just like you guys do. A lot of the energy in the room was being pointed at the people like in that middle that weren't the best allies that they could have been. And, and she is one of those where she was just getting destroyed by some of her fans, but probably by some people that just don't like her anyway. But a lot of energy was being pointed at them. And for the ones that reacted poorly and either ignored it or buttoned down or deleted their Twitter or did all sorts of stuff, I mean, that's one thing. I mean, I was happy to see a number of those people say, like Nick Scarpino was one of those people from Kind of Funny who was, he was not a great ally and he was called out for it. And what did he do? He reached out, he talked to them and expressed that he was going to try and do different moving forward. That's what I was hoping for out of those people in the middle. Obviously, the people that need to go away forever, it looks like that's going to happen. And that's the purge, for lack of a better term, over the last week or so has been effective, in that the people that need to go away are gone. But I think, and I hope that some of the people that made their voice heard have peace, because I know that that's really the best that we can hope for them. Hopefully they have peace and they found some supporters. And I really do hope that everybody who watched these situations, I was not involved in any of this, right? Like, I don't know any of them firsthand, right? I took a picture with Greg Miller once, right? But like, I don't know them. But I was still able to learn, right? I learned from it because I took that information in, and that's, Trevor said it at the top, right? We're 4 white dudes. Like, we're not the most diverse cast to really address and talk about this. But what we can talk about is the 4 of us. It's our responsibility to watch these things happen and learn from them, even though we're not living them. And there's a lot of people on the internet that don't learn unless they're in it, unless they're doing it. And these are the kind of things you have to learn from now. We have such a unprecedented level of access into the lives of the people we love and support. So we have to learn from the goings on in their world without being a part of it. Otherwise, we're doomed to repeat those things. And I say that as a guy who has, I have a 14-year-old son and an 11-year-old son, right? Like, I have to learn these things, then I have to teach them. This was a sad and depressing day, or not day, like week, right? And it's ongoing. My podcast co-host Amanda Farrow is, she knows a lot of these people and a lot of the people that caught her off guard, as she knows them firsthand. Some of the people that are kind of going away, and so she lost friends, and so to be 1 degree of separation from that, it's saddening to see it all happening and to see so many people hurting. But we can't shy away from it, right? Like, I couldn't just turn my phone off. I needed to lead. I needed to know what I needed to know, make sure that I wasn't following people, and I needed to hear these stories because I need to learn from them, for my own benefit, right? So I know how to behave, and to be able to pass that lesson on to not only my sons, but, anyone else that is around me. And it's not, and I say to understand how to better behave, it's not to say that I was some kind of monster before, but knowing, having that reinforcement is important, right? And I think the bigger piece for me is knowing how to be a better ally. And I think we learned from a lot of people who slipped up, right? We talk about Andrea Renee, right? She said, "Oh, well, I've been friends with him for a long time, so he wouldn't do that." Like, that, I can absolutely imagine myself saying that about some of my friends, right? And because we are all connected, right? Like, Holden and Chad, we're boys, right? But like, I can't. Well, I mean,
yeah, sorry. It was a bad
this
joke.
is literally the first time we've ever been in Skype before, but now we're we're homies too. Yeah. But like, you guys don't know me, right? Yeah. Like, you know me, right? But like, you don't know, and so but because like I see you guys tweeting all the time, and I watch your stuff, and and I love your content, like, there's that ambient intimacy, right? That be like, oh well, Chad's a super cool dude. Right. But like, I don't know. And so, and that lesson is not that I don't trust anymore, but that I need to be more careful about who I vouch for. And I'm sure Andrea learned that lesson, right? Because she spent a week with her own fan base kicking her ass. And a bunch of other people had the exact same thing. I mean, that stupid Simpsons guy trying to tear Greg Miller down or whatever. Like, there was all sorts of, like, a lot of people got some of the same, this is the expected pattern of support. And I think we all should learn from that. And I think all the people listening and watching should learn from that too. Because we all assume that we're not going to be the bad guy, right? Like, we're not going to be the one that's going to do the heinous act. But we could absolutely fall into the pattern of being the person that makes it worse. Yeah. And we need to not do that.
One of the things that... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Trevor. Oh, well, one of the things I really wanted to just kind of piggyback off of what Steven was saying was, like the listening and stuff like that. But I think if this year has really taught, the internet community anything besides, the world is terrible and on fire, is that we all need to get better at doing 4 things: shutting up, listening, learning, and changing. And I feel like this is one of those times where, like, yeah, we need to listen to, like what Steven was saying, we can't turn off our phones. We can't avoid this stuff. We need to know what's going on. We need to learn about what's going on so that we can be better and change and not ever end up in one of those situations where it's, oh no, I know him. Here's the thing. Like, I mean, you go back to Richard Matheson with the box. Do you really know anyone? Like, you don't know. Like, you're not with your friends all the time. So just passing something someone says off and not investigating on your own, yeah, you're enabling. You're not being a good ally. So yeah, I think we need to learn those things this year and from now on.
And to bring it to the Holy Pale situation, like even with her, when she was talking to Billy, for example, they became the best of buds. They were so close, so great. She didn't know until she knew. It's not always that, oh, I met this person for a second, and then yep, they're definitely going to be like that. It's harder to tell. And I always have to remind myself, like, one of the first people in Me Too was Bill Cosby. 15 years ago, who would have guessed? Yeah. No one. That is the prime example of, oh, I know Bill Cosby. He wouldn't do that. You don't know, and that's why you have to listen.
Mm-hmm. And I think you may not to cut you off, Holden, but this is to support you. We live in an environment where, like, we're so the whole like instant best buds thing, like. Mm-hmm. When you share something that's like so core to your identity, like, you know, we're gamers, right? Like, and there is, you know,
you have that immediate connection.
So if like the three of us were like, you know, bowling or whatever, right? And you heard me at the aisle next to you talking junk about freaking The Last of Us, like, oh man, I can't believe I played this or whatever. There is zero chance you guys wouldn't be like, holy shit, I just played that yesterday. Right. Like, and we would spend the rest of the night talking shit about it and, you know, whatever. And we would be instant best friends. Right. Because that's just what we do. That's what we do. That's what we're used to. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you know, like, I just wanted to point that when you share something that is a core to your identity, you immediately are. It's like when I go to a LARP event at a new chapter, like immediately we're all homies, you know, because we're all like that dork in the woods. Mm-hmm. So anyway. Carry on.
And yeah, the Paola situation I wanted to put in here also to contrast with the game studios, because what Paola's dealing with is the Wild West in comparison. Like, not that like HR departments are always super helpful, unfortunately, because sometimes they're not. But, you know, if this happens in a workplace, you do have some sort of authority you can go to, and hopefully they're helpful. But with Paola's situation, she wasn't necessarily working under a company with some of these people. It's just people she met through conventions and stuff like that. It's a totally different scenario, and that's where that support is even more important, because the foundation is literally just the public, and that makes it, I think, in a lot of cases easier to dismiss, and makes the hurt even bigger, I think, in a lot of ways, because it makes you feel even more alone. This is like, even like outside of, you know, these allegations, it's one thing I kind of hear is that like a lot of YouTubers or like, you know, content creators will kind of say, like, if you think you're going to get into this because you're going to have all these great friends, it's a lonely like endeavor to do this. And you take that and apply it to this, and I can't even imagine what Paola's feeling. I couldn't even imagine to begin with, but it must be incredibly isolating.
Yeah.
Not that the people at Ubisoft had it great. They obviously had their hardship. Yeah.
Through all of this, it's something I hadn't considered, that hers wasn't necessarily like a workplace thing. We think of everything, the whole Me Too movement, all of these things all happen to be based around things that happen at work, whether you're on a movie set or whether you're in an office. And for hers, it's just like systemic things that were in what she liked to do. And how do we cure the world? Like with the corporate environment, we can change culture. We can make people feel more comfortable going to HR. We can make sure there are no consequences. We can be transparent about our practices and what we're doing to be helpful. But with real life and just like people around you, there's nothing holding them accountable. That's got to be us, as Trevor said. Like, you got to speak up. You have to be the world's HR department. If you see something disgusting, speak up about it. And that's why Twitter is like, Twitter for a lot of people is like this gross hate monster, but it's also like, it's a platform. It enabled this movement. Like, one person speaks up and then everyone else feels comfortable speaking up, and we're suddenly now cleaning house of all of these disgusting people. And So it's like that's our way to say, hey, that's not okay. Stop what you're doing and let the rest of the world know it's happening about this person, so that other people can feel like, oh my God, yeah, that happened to me too. Or yeah, I have so and so lined up to be on my podcast next week. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And you add to that too, like I'm not. I should explain. I'm glad that Steven, this is a tangent, but it's going to tie in. I'm glad Steven brought up the thing about Facebook and Andre Renee. To be frank, I was one of those people who was not necessarily a huge fan of her. Something about her, I just didn't sit well with me. So when I saw her response to being direct, I was a little upset by that, but I'm glad to hear that's not the case. I'm just offering this as like an example. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but I think this is a real pressure that exists when we're talking about this public version of it versus the workplace version of it. Billy works at Destiny. Andrea would benefit from that connection. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but like there's a self-interest that says, I want to support this, but Billy's going to give me this connection, and like that's a pressure that's again not attached to a company. It exists in that kind of wild west, and we have to get comfortable saying these conversations are going to be rough. They're not going to be easy, and it does mean self-sacrifice to really deal with these situations, even if you're not the person who was the victim.
Yeah,
and we have to be able to make those self-sacrifices and compromise ourselves to support others. Again, I'm not accusing Andrew Renee of anything. I'm just pointing out the connection there.
Yeah.
This sucks.
It does. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I don't know where we go from here. Like, like we I don't know where to go from here, because it's one of those things where it's like it's a shitty situation, and these people have to live with that now, and that's the thing that like fucking like kills me, is I'm like, after this podcast I get to go fuck off and do whatever the hell, but for these people that's there always. They always remember that. So like that's one reason why like I feel like shit, like just sitting here and talking about it and being like, all right, on to the next thing, because we get to do that, but they don't, and I don't know.
So here's where we can go with this, Trevor. And there's 4 of us here. There's 7 people watching this. There's like 12 people that'll download this podcast episode. So
thanks.
Hashtag fuck chat.
I don't know, whatever. Here's where we can go with this. And you said like we can just go fuck off, and how about let's not, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way.
Yeah.
Being an ally is active. And so for the 4 of us, the 7 people watching, and for everybody that's going to listen afterwards, let's be active allies. So let's not just fuck off and go back to our regular lives. Let's stand there and let's be available, right? For the people that need us, because we know people. I think all of us, if we sit and really think about it, we know a handful of people that will need us to be there to listen to them, to help them if we're at conventions, etc. So let's be available, right, for the people that we know, and then let's also be prepared that we will, and be prepared to listen if it's someone that you don't know, and be open-minded and challenge authority that might be protecting a bad actor, and then let's be vigilant and watch. I mean, the reality is there's 7 people watching 4 dudes on Twitch, right? Like, and that's awesome, right? Like, they're watching us, but they've got their eye on us. And, we have our eyes on all the people that we're following, and we see things that the world might not. And that's not because we're superhuman. It's just that we see things. And so I think that the real step for all of us is to not be passive. And then let's just be active and aggressive in being allies and help where we can help. And that doesn't necessarily mean we got to pack heat at PAX East, right? Like, we don't need to do that. But the reality is we're going to be at a convention at some point in the next year. And, well, maybe not in the next year, but at some point in the next 2 or 3 years, all 4 of us are going to be at some kind of convention. And, we're going to be sitting at a booth, and there's going to be a woman who is going to be uncomfortable and it's going to happen at least once because of another one of our fellow, nerds, or maybe the person running the booth. And we need to be ready and prepared to be like, bro,
absolutely,
or gal,
yep,
knock that off. And, you know, like, and we just need to prepare ourselves for that. Right now we get to be home, and so we kind of fuck off a little bit because we don't have that, but we need to be ready that when we go to that next big gathering, when we're at Friday Night Magic or when we're at, you know, whatever, we got to be ready to be active allies and not just, you know, off in the corner, because we are the solution. There's always going to be predators. There's always going to be women that and men. I don't want to say it's just women. There's always going to be people who are going to be falling, victim. It's our job. We're the solution. And I think this conversation, the people listening to it, and these conversations happening on podcasts everywhere, right? You know, you said at the beginning of this that we're just 4 white guys. Well, kind of funny was 3 white dudes talking about it, and they got through to tens of thousands of people who listen to that, and the tens of people that are going to listen to this are going to be hopefully super impacted by it, because they're going to hear 4 people being really honest and expressing that this shit sucks and we want it to stop. I know that it probably never will, but we can get closer, but we have to do it.
Yeah, and I think an outlook to kind of look at this is that if you're ignoring it, the emotions don't go away. You can't get rid of those emotions. And like the longer that we put off these conversations, the more intense those emotions are going to get, the harder these things are going to get to talk about. So like it's never an easy conversation. It's easier done sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Agreed.
Damn.
Right.
Steven comes on the podcast every time, dropping bombs of truth. I love it.
Well, it's because I'm like the elder statesman.
You're the elder millennial.
I mean? Like I come in, like I got the gray beard, like I'm like Gandalf the dork, and so like I just come on and speak to truth, speak wisdom. And the reality is, I'm gonna be honest. 15 years ago, what am I? I'm 40. Like I absolutely know when I worked at Blockbuster Video. When I was in my 20s, early 20s, late teens, I absolutely said completely inappropriate things. Mm-hmm. I think back, I read these stories and I'm like, I was that dude. 100% was that dude. And I know it. And I know their names. I can't find, like, I couldn't apologize to them if I wanted to because I can't find them, but I've tried. And I know I said very inappropriate things and I regret them forever. And I will regret them until I die. And I'm sure all of us have said some things that we regret, right? Yeah. And this is the time where you go, you know what? We're learning how much even words can have an impact. Because with Paola, which thank you for telling me how to pronounce her name. I've been pronouncing it incorrectly in my head since I heard the story. But with her, one of the guys was saying stuff, but he didn't, he never touched her. He just said stuff and it was words, but those words were just as hurtful.
Yeah.
And, so learning that, man, I was that guy. And I know that there are people that could be listening to this that were, or maybe are. And it's important to hear it, to know that, man, this sucks. Don't do that. Be nice. Wheaton's Law is a thing, but it goes beyond that.
Especially these situations. Like, I'm definitely someone who thinks that intentions matter, but in this kind of context, intentions, they don't really matter. It doesn't matter how nice you were trying to be or how you hurt them. Yeah. Even if you think it was a small thing, like you hurt them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that context, the intention doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I agree. Intentions are like this side subject, right? Like the reality is there's some people that are feeling some serious pain. And listening to some of this, man, like I cry about everything because I'm an old guy, and I cry at the end of Cool Runnings. Like my brother's listening, and we measure everything in like how many Cool Runnings it is. So it's like 2, 3, or 4 Cool Runnings, and so like listening to some of these stories, it is heartbreaking. And I think all of us have to realize that we could do it. Like it could have been us that did this, because some of these stories have nothing to do with assault. That's obviously a different thing, if you're capable of doing that or not. But a lot of these are words and rumors and, being really aggressively friendly, quote unquote. Come on, man. Don't do that. You may think you're being nice, but come on, especially if you're in a position of power. Anyway, we could probably go on going on this in circles until 1 a.m. I really appreciate you guys number one, talking about this, and number two, not being afraid to bring an old dude that you don't necessarily know very well on for this topic. I think that really speaks to, your respect for me. So I appreciate that, because you could have been like, we're talking about something serious. Can you come be an asshole next week? And I would have so I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk about this, because this is not something that I would talk about on my own content, being that for the most part, we talk about Mario Kart. So this is a little bit heavy for us.
Yeah.
And also I don't want to, trigger Amanda any more than she already has been. But this is an important conversation. And I think that you guys did a good job wrapping it up. Holden, I know you did a lot of the research on that, and I'm sure that doing the research on this was challenging for you, because you kept finding more stuff.
Yeah, especially the payola, just going to each person's Twitter account and seeing they didn't say anything. Fuck. Go to the next person's, they didn't say anything. Fuck. That was really hard to see.
I can,
and again, I wasn't that. Payola. Like I'm not even her. It's like I can't even imagine what she's feeling.
Empathy is a thing, Holden, and it's okay. Clearly, you have it. And it sucked, I am sure. But
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, exactly. It's good, but it's bad. As an empathic person, I get it. But yeah, no, this is. I'm glad that you guys did this. Your community will be better for it.
Holden, you've been killing it so far tonight. Do you have a good transition to get us out of this?
I was really thinking this whole conversation, like, Chad, take us to Game on Game Show, because I can't think of like anything. It's such
okay. The answer is okay. So video games.
Video games.
That's how I transition.
Speaking of good video games.
Okay, so video games.
Fable Anniversary. Play that for Barf. We don't have a Game on Game Show for tonight, which I think is actually in all of our best interest, because we are already super long. So we're gonna go ahead and cut the podcast here. But thank you for everyone for listening. Be an ally. Do everything Steven said. Be ready to be an ally. Be on the lookout. And then be ready to listen when people need. If you are part of the community, make sure that you go and play through our stuff. Obviously, you're part of the community. Come on. If you're part of our Patreon, look for our wallpaper coming out this week. That's going to be coming out pretty soon. Also going to be pretty dope. I don't know if I can top last month, though, because last month was just like
it was pretty
the
dope.
Holy Grail. So keep a lookout for that. If you want wallpapers, including last month's, patreon.com/respawn-aim-fire. Go play Fable Anniversary in the month of July. Listen to the Last of Us spoiler cast, as well as our Alan Wake discussion we just had with Trevor. And before we sign off, I want to give both of you wonderful guests a chance to pimp your stuff one more time, and however you would like to describe it. Starting with Trevor. Go.
So hey, I'm Trevor. If you like Dungeons and Dragons or role-playing games of any sort, you can come listen to my podcast, Difficulty Class, which real quick, I want to give a thanks to Steven Dusman. Legitimately, if Steven Dusman hadn't been on this show, like Respawning Fire, like over a year ago, I wouldn't be here talking about a podcast. He talked about like, hey, just go fucking start it, download Anchor, do your shit, and I did, and I talked to him on Twitter, and he gave me the freaking encouragement I needed to continue doing it, and now we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary of a show, so thank you, Steven. That I appreciate that. We have Difficulty Class, which has a bunch of D&D stuff and RPG stuff. My other podcast is From the Same Mister, where me and my half-sister talk about being donor siblings, like donor conceived siblings, which is a unique thing, and it's kind of a fun show. And then I have I'm Gonna Podcast, which is on hiatus, but there's some crazy shit on there if you want to go listen to it.
Awesome. Steven, you're up.
So I was excited when Holden told me that you were going to be on here, Trevor, because you were I make the joke with these two guys all the time about like the family tree of podcasts, because I know I came on here like a year or so ago for the first time and, made that very bold call to action, which I have continued to make on Twitter, because at the end of the day, and if you're listening, shut up and make your podcast. Just do it right now. Shut up and podcast. And if you don't know how to do it, find me on Twitter. That's at @sdutzman. I'm sure it'll be somewhere in the show notes or whatever. Yep. So for those of you that do not know who I am, my name is Steven Dutzman. I run EngagedFamilyGaming.com. That is a website on the internet where parents like myself and my co-hosts come together to encourage everyone to get their family game on. So we focus on everything. Yeah, we even have a funny catchphrase, Chad. You like it? We've been running for about 7 years. I've been doing this for a very long time, to the point where my oldest son works for me now, and is actually writing the review for Ninjala tomorrow.
Oh,
so
wow.
we are, so I actually hired him and am paying him.
No nepotism. Don't you pay him more than he's worth?
I mean, trust me, bro. I'm not. So if you are interested in family gaming content, which I view as everything rated T or below, you certainly head on over to engagefamilygaming.com. You can find us on Facebook if you don't find that gross, like Trevor and Chad. That's where we do a lot of our stuff. We have a Facebook group. Our Facebook page is very active. I have a whole team of community managers that help me post all sorts of cool memes and content that is focused in that direction. And I have a podcast that comes out every week. It alternates between video games and board games. It's called literally the Engaged Family Gaming Podcast. It's not hard to find. And I do that with Amanda Farrow, who used to run superparent.com. And she is one of my very best friends. We have a lot of fun, and we have had some pretty wild guests over the last handful of years. So we had Steve Jackson on our show at one point.
Holy crap.
My podcast producer tells me that I need to plug that a little bit more often, because that was kind of cool. We had Khalif Adams. We have Khalif Adams from Spawn on Me coming on in the next month or so. That's going to be a wild ride. So we've been doing this a long time, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm so happy that I started doing it, because it means that I got to meet like the three of you. It's so much fun. So come find me on Twitter. Come, enjoy some of the family gaming content. And once every business quarter or so, you'll probably find me on here, where I get to cuss because I don't do it on my other content. Oh, I do a YouTube show now, by the way. It's called The EFG Show. We should do it on Facebook, and then I put it on YouTube. And my sons make the thumbnails.
Oh, nice.
Because
Awesome.
they told me that mine suck. And so they started doing it. And you can tell, if you look at the timeline, exactly when my oldest was like, Dad, your thumbnails suck. No wonder no one watches your show.
I do quickly want to put one more plug in here, because Steven was talking about like the family tree of podcasts that have come out of like him giving that call to action. Another one you should go listen to is Shouting in Place. Dusty, who is in the chat right now, does it. I know Holden was on there.
I think we've all three been on there, right?
We go listen to it. It is an absolutely awesome, cathartic podcast to listen to, and you get to scream into the void for a little bit.
I think
I wasn't able to do that. I was very upset. I was just able to do that.
Awesome.
I think I'm recording that podcast tomorrow.
Awesome.
I have 5 podcasts in 6 days.
Hell yeah.
That's badass.
It's badass.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Until next week, here's our usual sign off. It's okay not to be excited for Cyberpunk.